Well, if it is our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on Hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
It's a beautiful morning. And the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show is checking in right on time at 5:40 in the godforsaken AM. Good morning to each and every last one of you bastards. Tuesday, Cubby. The Tuesday show.
How do you feel about Tuesday shows? We're very aware how you feel about Friday shows. Tuesday, where are you at?
It's F-off week, so I don't care.
So the whole week.
Whole week is
perfect.
Later on, universally loved entertainer C. Willi Myles is going to slap on a pair of waders and head this way. He's looking to jump on air with us around 7:30. Oh, and for you Janelle Klein fans, if you're wondering what gives and where her gorgeous, tall, blonde carcass has been hiding out lately, we think she's taking a trip to England or Paris or Japan or somewhere like that.
Yeah, she's
We're not
somewhere-
entirely sure.
She's somewhere cool.
We're not entirely sure where she is.
Someplace over there.
What'd you say?
Like in Europe-y?
Yeah, Europe's. Somewhere's in the
There's
Europes.
a whole bunch of places she was thinking of going.
Hopefully she's not, somewhere really cool, but for a really bad reason.
Oh,
You
that
mean-
happens to her sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully
Like,
she's like on a good vacation.
We're not exactly sure where she is, but she's out of town. I personally don't think she's coming back. But that's a good point, Ashley. Hopefully she's having fun and not covering a murder/incest trial or something like that.
Seriously.
That's what she does for a living. She follows the incest.
I was texting with her over the weekend, and she seemed like she was in good spirits.
Well, that's
I guess
good.
Oh,
she
that's
usually is in good spirits, now that I think about it. But every
That's
once
good.
in a while, she will text and say, my God, this is a tough one.
Yeah.
Why do I do this for a living?
And she's such a nice person. There's Smashley over there. So, what's your deal?
Nothing really.
How you feeling?
Tired.
Yeah, I was telling my wife yesterday that you're starting to get partly miserable, and she said that you might be in for some trouble if you were already.
Because it's hot. It's
Yeah.
going to get hot.
That's what I told her, that you already hate heat.
I'm not excited for that. I'm the worst person to be pregnant in the summer. It's not going to go well.
No one wants to be pregnant in the...
At least it's always freezing in here, so that
That's
helps.
true. Let me ask you something, Dam. You've got a pile of shady older brothers,
Yeah,
correct? 5, 6 of them.
5.
5 of them. So when you were coming up and boys took an interest in you and you started taking an interest in them, which, as you've explained to us in the past, that happened when you turned 2, when you took an interest in boys.
I liked boys.
Did all those older brothers, did they mean your dad didn't have to play the role of overprotective father because your older brothers had that gimmick covered?
Yeah.
And were they
Definitely.
overprotective?
Yes.
Or were they
Some
kind of-
a little bit more than others.
Sure.
But I guess my brother that is closest in age, so he's like 2 years older than me, he was really protective.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So your old man didn't have to exhaust himself.
No.
He had all these, kind of, like, what's the word, Josh? Like in military terms, he had all of these, forget it. You know what I mean. He had all of these lower.
like he's in charge of
Yes,
everyone else?
yes,
Oh, okay.
yes. He had his sons to look after
Sure,
you.
sure.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, people were just naturally afraid of him, though.
Your dad.
Yeah.
He's a bigger guy.
He's tall.
He's
scary
intimidating.
looking. Yeah.
I think when you find out somebody you want to date has a whole bunch of brothers and a dad that looks like your dad, that's intimidating.
Yeah. And like Nick was saying, I mean, they are sketchy, too. All my brothers.
It's a shady crowd.
I mean, that helps.
Your brothers, a shady, shady crowd. I don't remember ever crossing paths, ever, with that classic version of the overprotective dad when I was a kid, or an overprotective brother.
Oh, you got lucky.
Yeah, you did.
Never crossed paths with any dads who put off that vibe. Never crossed paths with any older brothers or just brothers of a gal that I was interested in or any of my friends were interested in. That kind of gimmick just only for me appeared on television. And, a couple of my pals had scorching hot sisters. And they never showed any signs of caring at all what kind of dudes came around their sisters. No. And I know I never did. I just looked at it as that's not my business. Josh, remember the story of my buddy who unintentionally got a front row seat to his younger sister just getting jackhammered after school one day?
Yeah,
that's not right.
That's rough.
I'll get back to that.
I forgot about that.
I'll get back to that.
Was it your buddy who found out his sister was stripping or something like that,
yeah.
and another buddy surprised him with that?
Yeah, that's true, too. The reason I'm asking about all this, some dad, supposedly overprotective dad, his picture ended up on social media and everyone's been talking about it. A picture of the back of his T-shirt, and he's got one of those "Don't mess with my daughter" T-shirts with a list of things, right, that you shouldn't do.
Yeah. One of those cheesy shirts.
Yeah.
So cringy.
If you're going to get involved with my princess daughter, here's 10 things you better not do because I'm the overprotective dad.
I texted my daughter this yesterday. I said, hey, look at the new shirt I'm ordering. I wanted her reaction, and she just wrote back, LOL. That was it.
This is so funny because...
the funniest part to me is the people that don't get it. They don't understand a couple of the jokes on there. To me, that was pretty funny.
Well...
Like the last one on there.
Oh, dude, that's where we're going with this, is the dad with his, tough guy, overprotective father T-shirt. He didn't expect, I think, when this was thrown, this picture of the list on the back of his shirt that was put up on social media. I don't think he expected to be the butt of a pile of jokes.
I bet he thought he was going to be pretty cool. Like, usually people like, respect, man. Hell yeah, protect your daughter.
I don't know. I have a feeling he probably got this T-shirt for some weird holiday, and he didn't care about what shirt he was wearing that day, so he threw this on.
That's very likely. A lot of.
I get shirts like that for my kids.
That's how dads are.
It could be that this was just a T-shirt to him, of course. I mean,
I hope so.
My old man would have been completely comfortable leaving the house wrapped in burlap.
Yeah.
He didn't. But anyway, it's more fun to think that he was trying to put out this vibe and didn't realize it was going to backfire on him. So the back of this man's T-shirt has 10 rules for dating my daughter. And it says here, it's the standard stuff that you've seen before. I personally have never seen one of these T-shirts before, which is why I was kind of extra excited about the bit, and I'm maybe going to got a bigger kick out of it than most folks. But 10 rules to dating my daughter. Rule number 1, get a job. Get yourself a job. Number 2, understand that I don't like you. Number 3, understand that I'm everywhere. Okay.
Jeez.
Rule number 4 to dating my daughter. You hurt her, I hurt you. Rule number 5, be home 30 minutes early. Rule number 6, get a lawyer. Rule number 7, I don't know if I understand this one. If you lie to me, I will find it. Find out. Okay, there's a misprint in here. If you lie to me, I'll find out. Okay. Number 8, She is my princess, not your conquest. That's freaking hilarious. My princess, she's not your conquest. Number 9 is funny. This is my favorite one. I don't mind going back to jail, he says.
That is a scary one.
Yeah. And finally, the 10th rule. This is the one where kind of backfired on Dad. Whatever you do to her, I will do to you. And everyone online made the same joke about that last rule. Everyone said, so, her dad is going to bang me?
That's the joke. That's what I understand. People don't understand that. I've heard that so many times. I've heard a lot of these from dads before. And that's the whole joke.
Oh, so it's meant to be a joke?
Yeah, it's meant to be a joke.
Well, then F me.
That's it.
I wasn't aware of that. I thought this was
it.
just a cheap T-shirt that didn't understand what it was saying.
No, it's like, hey, think about the sex acts you're going to commit with her because I will do those same sex acts to you.
Okay, well, this is the first time I've seen a rules to dating my daughter T-shirt. I was naive to the comedic delivery.
Well, yeah, all of it's a joke, right? I mean, yes.
I don't know. I've seen some guys wear those shirts very seriously.
Well, sure, they mean the sentiment, but I don't think they mean I'm going to blow you.
Well, right, but it's just kind of an odd way of phrasing that.
The internet was having a lot of fun with that. A lot of people brought up the extremely graphic sex acts that the dad might have to potentially do if he keeps his word on rule number 10.
Chaos coordinator Shiza said she's one of 4 girls. Her dad had that shirt. Wore it in front of all the boyfriends.
Yeah. That's a fun little game of cat and mouse, isn't it, Josh, when you got the tough dad, whether he's just playing that role or is legitimately tough, and the nervous high school boyfriend or whatever. I bet that's a fun game if you're the dad.
Yeah, and guys like this, though, are usually not necessarily the tough dad. I think tough dads are just tough dads. They don't need to wear shirts like that. It's a joke. They're goofing around. But yeah, it was strange to me that nobody understood that number 10 was a joke on there.
Oh, I didn't understand. I thought it was...
It's like an old joke. I had a dad say that to me in high school.
Oh. Well, like I said earlier, I never crossed paths with any of those types of folks, overprotective dads or overprotective brothers. Plenty of women chimed in on this dad online who's wearing the T-shirt with the 10 rules for dating his daughter. Plenty of women chimed in and said they would disown their own father if they ever wore a shirt like that in public. One woman said, "They are so cringe," she said. "I'm not his property to protect," she said. And I bet it sucks for a young gal.
It's got to be annoying.
Oh, embarrassing all the time.
Dad always hovering over your shoulder, maybe picking up the telephone when you're on it. I suppose that doesn't exist anymore because everyone has their own cell phone. But back in the day, I imagine there were some dads who would, maybe grill the kid over the phone or listen in on conversations. If the daughter says we're going to a movie, dad might go to the same movie and sit in the back of the theater.
Oh, that would be awful.
I can see how teenage gals would just lose it with that kind of helicopter parenting. That cracked me up.
And that can backfire, right? If she gets mad at dad and decides, I'm going to do whatever I want.
Oh, yeah.
That can backfire.
It's a fine line you got to walk there.
I suppose she might want to go as far the other way as possible. And next thing you know, she's in California working with Peter North.
Retired GVF DGs has said on rule number 10, add with a broomstick.
Yeah, this poor buddy of mine came home from high school one day, and he had a sister that was a year younger than him. And they came from one of those households. I was very jealous of this. They came from one of those households where mom and dad had very relaxed rules on what their children were allowed to do with significant others in the house. Meaning their parents gave them freedom to bring their significant other up into the bedroom whenever they wanted to, and mom and dad would stay away for hours. They were open-minded like that and knew that their kids were probably horsing around and having sex, but that's the type of folks they were. So it was a pretty open household on that subject. So my buddy comes home from school one day. Like I said, he's got a sister 1 year younger. And, backpack over his shoulder, goes to the front door, and it's locked. And he's like, well, what the hell? No one ever locks the door around here. And he kind of goes around the back of the house, tries not to be cute here, but he tries the back door. That sumbitch is locked. He said, come on, I just want to go inside and go back to sleep, for Christ's sake. So he decides he's going to go up to the front picture window and kind of, what's going on in there? Who's got the door? I mean, right as he's peering through the picture window, there's the back of his sister's head. And she's just sprawled out on the couch while her boyfriend is just absent. And he's like, come on!
That's awful.
My wife had a no rules deal at her house, too. Her mom raised her, single mom, and she would let her go up to the bedroom, closed doors, sleepovers, anything. Whatever went.
Yeah.
And she took advantage of that.
That's crazy.
Metal hand finishing Jesus
says...
Did
you get a little emotional?
A little bit, just kind of thinking about how much she took advantage of that.
A lot of advantages were taken.
Yeah, a lot of liberties given, and more were taken, I'd say.
Oh, B.
Metal hand finishing Jesus said he has a shirt which reads, yes, I have a beautiful daughter. I also have a gun, a shovel, and an alibi.
Sounds like something my father-in-law would wear for sure.
Which one?
That's a good point.
You got three.
Her actual father.
So you did encounter the overprotective dads and brothers and whatnot when you were a kid, Josh?
A couple, not even as a kid. You know what? The one girlfriend that you warned me their family was too close.
Yes.
That was one.
Okay.
And she had a few brothers who the brothers were totally cool, except for one. But I got along with those guys great. But the dad was kind of like that. And so was the uncle. The uncle was like that as well.
Yeah, you got the guys.
It's the same uncle that you and I overheard talking about how great his daughter's breasts were.
Oh.
That particular uncle.
That was an odd moment.
That was very weird.
What is this now?
Don't do that.
Medical device Jesus said his daughter's 19. Whenever there's dirty jokes, he locks eyes with her boyfriend and keeps staring until he looks away. It's pretty fun, he said.
Sure. Ah, that's good. This is funny. Here's a female listener in our audience who claims one day her dad asked her boyfriend, are you effing my daughter? And her boyfriend, now husband, replied, I'm making love to your daughter.
Ew.
Why
in
are you guys,
5 minutes.
Why are you? How and why did that happen? Anyway, there you go. Yeah, we had it pretty easy. Never got chased, threatened, anything. Specifically talking about, dating girls or pursuing girls. We certainly got chased and threatened by parents for other reasons, but didn't encounter that whole bit. Ashley, I imagine your brothers and your dad collectively probably could win a battle royal.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably could win a WWE main event if they wanted to.
Yeah, they probably could.
Was your fiance intimidated at all?
I don't know. I guess I haven't really asked him
He's
about
too
it.
dumb to be intimidated.
Yeah, I've kind of noticed that.
Kind of slow, reactive kind of a guy.
Did you warn him? Did you say,
yeah,
hey, just so
I
you
do.
know, so-and-so's a little aggressive. You did? You gave him a couple warnings?
100%, yeah. I'm not that bad of a person.
I'm not fat, I'm aerodynamic, Jesus said. His friend had a shirt he made called You Married Her, You Keep Her. Apparently, Dad just wanted to get rid of her. I'll tell you, when my daughter started dating, I just didn't make a lot of effort to get to know the guys because I figured it'd be over in 2 weeks. And that was kind of the case until her current boyfriend, who she's been with for 5 years. Someday I'll get to know him a little bit because it seems like he's sticking around.
5 years?
He seems pretty cool.
5 years they've been dating.
5 years, yeah.
But at first you didn't pay much attention.
No, because,
it was like a never-ending wheelhouse of a different dude.
She didn't really date too many guys, but yeah, I just figured it's going to be over in a week or two. And that's what it was. It would be one dance, 1 week, and that's it.
That's smart. Don't invest your time.
Right. Because what if I like him better than her and I'm on his side?
Yeah, see,
that's the
you
fear.
don't want that. That would suck.
All right, what else is going on around here? Back to at the very beginning of the show, we were asking Ashley how things are going. You're getting there. You got a bun in the oven and a couple of months to go. Months to go?
Yeah.
I have it correct?
August?
Yep,
Is that right?
less than 100 days.
Oh,
that was
wow.
kind of scary seeing that.
Are
Whoa.
you experiencing any of the what I have in front of me is a list of the perks of being pregnant. Okay,
Oh.
I'm going to run these your way, and you tell me if you've been enjoying any of these perks of being pregnant.
Okay.
Baby registry welcome boxes. Many stores offer free baby registry welcome kits filled with samples and coupons. I can't believe I just read that out loud.
I haven't gotten those.
Okay, all right. Have you received your free breast pump?
Yeah.
You have.
Yeah, I have.
Ash, or Josh, she got her free breast pump.
Where do you get something like
You can
that
stop.
from?
It says here many insurance plans cover a breast pump at no
Yep.
cost. Good
Yep.
for you. It showed up in the mail?
Yeah.
Did your fiance know what it was?
Yeah, I
did?
told him it was coming, so.
It looks a lot like his penis pump, so he's used to that.
Yeah, it's true, Dana.
Some stores, restaurants, and airlines offer special accommodations for pregnant women.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know they have, like, cool parking spots.
Have you used that parking spot yet?
No, I haven't.
Parking
because
spot?
I haven't been to any of the places that have it.
You know, like Targets and grocery stores and things like that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
And there's a sign that says pregnant.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
I've never noticed that.
yeah, it's cute.
What the hell?
Toys R Us always had it, too.
When you're done with that pregnant parking sticker, can you give it to me? I don't have
That's
to.
the thing. They just trust you. So you could just park there and claim that you're pregnant.
Some places like amusement parks, government offices, and even coffee shops let pregnant women skip the line. Have you experienced that?
No, I went to the
Okay.
DMV like last week, I think it was. Yeah. And it was very hot. So I was like very obviously looking pregnant because when I wear like the shorts that I usually wear when I know I'm going to be sweating, you can really tell that I have a baby bump there.
Word.
And I did not get to skip the line, not at all. I was there for like 3 hours.
Were you kind of milking it to make it look like you're extra pregnant to see if anybody would notice and say something? Like, hey, come on right ahead, get to the front.
Well, when I walked in, Dana, there was people standing, and I thought, oh no, if this is a standing one, I got to leave. This isn't going to work. But there were seats available, thank God.
God forbid, but have you hurt yourself at all while pregnant? Because it says here, some studies suggest pregnancy increases pain resistance.
Yeah, I messed up my hamstring, and that's been hurting for like 4 months now.
So maybe you don't have that
on.
extra pain tolerance that's
No,
mentioned here.
Doubt it. I doubt that. No, I have no pain tolerance.
Better sleep?
No,
Okay.
No, yeah, you're,
it's been the complete opposite. What?
you were telling us off air yesterday that you're pretty exhausted for that reason.
It says
What?
right here. It says
People
right
sleep
here.
better?
Many
No.
women
No way.
get better sleep. Finally, the physical perks to being pregnant. Better hair and nails.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Glowing skin.
I guess it's been pretty nice. Yeah, for the most part. It hasn't been awful.
And what about just the treatment you've received from the general public? It says here, people may be more likely to hold doors open, give up seats, or carry things for a pregnant lady.
Yeah, people do treat you like a lot better. It's really sweet, actually. They act like they care.
Actually, I'm on this new medication that I got to take every morning. It's a big old pill, and they say you have to take food with it, otherwise you're going to get really nauseous. One morning, I forgot to grab a banana, and my stomach was just turning, and I'm like, I can't say a word about this right now. Oh, Ashley, my tum-tum hurts. I'm a little nauseous right now in the early morning.
Yeah, she would have come at you with a buck knife.
Oh,
I try
100%.
not to be that person when somebody like complains about their back hurting or that their stomach hurts. I'm like, oh, really?
Oh,
Does it?
I have
But-
noticed sometimes you have to get up and emergency pee.
Yeah.
And then you'll come back, and my nephew will adjust and sit right on your bladder, and you got to go up and do some more pee.
It hurts so bad.
I have seen you get up abruptly and walk away from our live broadcast once or twice, but I always assumed it was a number 2.
I was
just some gas.
No.
I thought you were just letting guests in.
Well, I'm glad things are going all right. Doesn't sound like you're enjoying all of the supposed perks, but maybe a handful.
Yeah, some of it's nice. Absolutely.
That's good to know. All right, we might as well get going again. Like I was saying, see Willi Myles is going to pop by. At 7:30, Randy Shaver, of course, joins us every morning at 7:30. On Tuesdays, we get to rap with Glen Perkins a little bit about the Twins, who had a rainout last night, and they're supposed to try to squeeze 2 games in tonight. I don't know how lucky they'll get on that, but we'll talk to Glenn all about it. So we'll take a break. We'll come back with the stupid news here in a few minutes on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listeners, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
This is a mini meditation guided by Bombas. Repeat after me. I'm comfy. I'm cozy. I have 0 blisters on my toes. And that's because I wear Bombas, the softest socks, underwear, and t-shirts that give back. 1 purchased equals 1 donated. Now go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
All right. For starters here, I'm going to go ahead and assume this here feller in New Zealand, he must be the most impossible, opinionated, obstinate guy in town. My dad always liked to use that word, obstinate.
It's a good one.
Mm-hmm. To go this far, I'll explain myself, of course, in a minute or two. To go this far to protest traffic laws, to me, that's a sign you're nuts and you need a reason to be pissed off. Traffic cameras in New Zealand quite easily spotted this effing guy driving down the highway. You couldn't miss the guy.
Oh, no.
Could you, Cubby?
No.
Couldn't miss this guy.
Not at all.
He had attached a large white banner to the roof of his vehicle, standing way up tall.
It's like a sail.
Very much like a sail. He had attached a large white banner, more like a sail, to the roof of his vehicle. On the banner was a very professionally drawn fist with an extended is how you say it, middle finger. And that middle finger was meant to be a message to the local traffic cops. Big, I mean big.
That's perfect.
Fist with a middle finger extended high above the lid of this man's motor vehicle. Dude was driving in what is designated as a lane for buses only. But Mr. Anti-Authority here wanted to show how he doesn't play by the rules. He'll just go ahead and drive in that lane no matter what the sign says. And don't get me wrong, it's not as if I'm the ultimate conformist. There are certain political leaders and authority figures I can't stand to even look at. And I'm sure there's a statute or two that I would disagree with. if you laid them all out for me. But come on, we're talking about traffic laws here. Is this dude that offended by certain lanes that are prohibited for regular motor vehicles? Speed limits, parking laws, that stuff is just too much for this guy? What's the problem? I mean, how long do you think it took him, Josh, to create that friggin' banner?
Well, it took him a while, but it was probably a labor of love for the guy.
Yeah.
Clearly passionate.
So he's got, his car, obviously, but his face is completely covered up in the video. But it does look like I don't know if somebody in the video blurred out his license plate or if he somehow covered it up. So that makes a difference. But I thought it's pretty obvious who this guy is. But maybe that's exactly what he wants.
He drove down the prohibited bus route for a while just to make his lame point. Imagine sitting next to this bro at a beer hall.
Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah, I bet he doesn't have a positive thing to say about anything.
Oh, Cubby, I bet you can't say a damn thing without him popping off with some overly angry opinion that goes the opposite of whatever you might have said. Okay.
And everyone else is dumb, I'm sure.
Oh.
Or like you said, conformist.
Everyone's stupid but him. Once the video of the middle finger guy landed on that godless social media, of course, there were some who thought he was the funniest guy in town, and others like me who assume this guy needs professional help. One person commented by simply saying, "What an absolute clown."
Yeah, that's my thought on him, but I do think it is kind of funny.
Well, of course it's kind of funny. I mean, yeah, a guy driving down the road with a massive middle finger extended off the lid of his car. Some people are just too deep for their own good. You know what I mean? A simple sign that says prohibited vehicles makes them feel as if they're being bullied by government or something. For Christ's sake, relax. Not everything is a personal attack on your freedom.
Now, I will say there was a time where people would speed by our house and go so fast, and there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood, a ton of them, where I thought about using the cameras from my house and just blowing up pictures of the cars and saying something to the effect of slow the F down, but in a nicer way. So there was a time where I thought of going to that extreme.
Well, but in your
then when
case,
I considered,
That's different. I can understand that.
in your case, you're trying to protect your neighborhood and the children that live there.
I mean, it's honestly kind of insane how fast people would go. And the kids were in the street, some of them pretty stupid, out in the street. But I figured that might paint me out to be the world's biggest douchebag, when that was certainly not my intent.
This whole bit kind of reminds me of those folks who will ruin a ball game with their complaints about everything that's going on off the field of play, how the team spends their money, or the inside businessy issues that they think they know about the owner of the team. And those complaints, I'm sure 5 times out of 10 are factual. But I don't have any interest in those conversations, especially when I'm watching the game. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I watch the Twins and the Wolves and whatnot because I love to watch a ball game. That's not the time to have to listen to an amateur version of Stephen A. Smith go on and on about the salary cap and ownership. That stuff is just boring. It takes the fun out of the experience.
Beer Brewing and Drinking Jesus said he used to work for a foreclosure processor. They get all kinds of complaints from the city on properties. One was about some neighbors complaining a house had a giant wood penis on the roof. Someone was foreclosed on and forced out of their house, so they took a bunch of old wood and built a gigantic penis statue and left it on top of the house before they left.
That's fun.
I have a friend, he's a handyman, and he made a killing during the market crash in 2008, right? All the foreclosures and stuff like that, because some people would just take everything, including the copper piping, all the fixtures, appliances, everything out of the house when they're being foreclosed on. So he would fix them up. And he was constantly busy.
Sounds like a massive pain in the ass. All right. When my sister and brother and I were little kids, we were no strangers to being left in the car by ourselves while our folks did grown folks things. Sometimes they wanted to go shopping for a while without pain in the ass kids slowing things down. Sometimes they just wanted to duck into a tavern for a couple of cold ones. And there we would sit in the car. The nice thing, I should say, for us, was usually if my folks just wanted to stop into a roadhouse to get a buzz on, they'd just bring us into the joint with them. And I loved that. I learned so much about people at a very young age by being in a bar as a little kid. And this might be nonsense, but I really do think hanging out in a bar with my folks or going to house parties with my folks as a little kid made me comfortable around people. And then, once you get into junior high and high school, you know how so many kids were cliquey. They only hung out with a certain group. I wasn't that way, and I think that's because I was comfortable socially at a young age with anybody. But one thing is for sure, I loved going into a bar as a young kid. All the different characters, the laughs, the dirty jokes. I was so drawn to that. Here's a couple of gals who need to try and keep a closer eye on their kids from here on out, if, in fact, they get a second chance. They got a little too relaxed with their parenting. This here took place back a couple of months ago. Why it's coming up now is anybody's guess. Police in Arizona responded to a call about a small child running around a parking lot alone at about 11 p.m. Witnesses say they didn't see any parents around. So the cops roll in, and when they asked the little girl where she was, she said, hell, I don't know.
Oh, no.
The little girl did lead the cops to a car where there were 3 more little children. 2 of them were strapped into car seats. So 4 kids. The oldest was 4, and that must have been the one that was walking and talking. The youngest kid was a little tiny old infant baby. Oh, and the cops found a fat bag of weed in the car, too.
Yeah, the kids were partying.
And the cop said, hey, baby.
That's all I can think of.
Doing out here on the street 2 o'clock in the morning? Baby said, I'm selling weed.
That's all I could think about. Maybe these moms had the parenting motto of, what would Britney Spears do? And they do that exact same thing.
Anyway, 4 little kids in a car, 11 o'clock at night. 4 little kids in a car, big bag of grass, no adults anywhere to be found. The cops searched for the parents for an hour. Couldn't find them.
Yeah, one's sleeping on the right and the other one's...
Oh, there is 2 of them in there. Your kids have been here for hours. Hours? Where have you been?
I went in and goes to the bathroom.
Really? Because we got a call about 45 minutes ago from people walking around saying they saw your daughter running around in the parking lot, no parents around.
A bag of weed in the glove box.
Yeah.
So those kids have been in the car for how long with weed? Just they could have easily accessed that as well.
There's the cops right there. Where have you been, he says.
Hours? She's surprised.
Hours? Really?
Eventually, 2 women's returned to the car. They initially claimed they'd gone to the bathroom. And as you heard there, when police mentioned that they've been gone for at least a couple of hours is how I should have said that. The women slowly admitted to stopping at a cookie shop. Oh, and also at a bar.
You know how that goes. You got to stop at the cookie shop.
Yeah, got to get a couple shots in you before you have a cookie.
Big line there.
Both women smelled like hooch and had slurred speech. They were both arrested. The children were taken to a nearby hospital. It's unclear what will happen to the young kids, but one of the women said, quote, please don't take my kids away from me. I know this is super, super bad. Yeah, you effed up now.
Poor kids.
And one thing I've learned from watching a cop video or 2, those parents who F around and take zero interest in caring for their children, oh, do they cause a scene when someone mentions taking those kids away from them. But what the hell did you expect, stupid? I've seen those videos before where the cop says, well, we found your kids eating a dead cat in your house, which was on fire at the time, and you were at a campground 11 miles away dumping BJs on fellers for crack rocks. We're going to take your kids away. And then the lady goes, why? What do you mean, why? I've seen a little bit of that, Josh.
Oh, yeah. Instant rage as if everyone else is the dumb person in the situation.
Yep.
You're 11 miles away at a campground giving BJs for crack rocks.
What do you expect them to do?
The house is on fire. They're eating a dead cat. All right.
I left the windows cracked. I don't get it. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
There's a bag of Cheerios on the floor. They were fine.
I left them the phone number of their aunt who lives in Philadelphia if they have any problems. All right. I think I have this here next situation straightened out. I think I do. It's nothing you haven't heard afore. A grown person coming uncorked because they didn't get exactly what they wanted exactly when they wanted it. As you know, that's our thing now. Oh, you fully grown adults who behave like pissy little children. You know who you are, the ones that fly into a rage at restaurants and hardware stores and whatnot. What happened to you? Do you know how it started? But I think the funny thing is, Cubby, most of the little children disguised as adults, they don't even realize they are who they are. You know what I mean?
That's the sad part. You'd like to think maybe one of these videos gets popular on the internet, you see it and go, I can't believe that's me. I can't believe I'm that type of person.
Most of them stand by this behavior.
Like if someone sees a picture of them and they're like, why did I ever dress that way? You know, they realize maybe that was kind of a silly thing. But you're right. I don't think a lot of these folks do.
It's so effing pathetic. Anyways, from what I understand here, at a seafood joint in Miami, a supposed adult walked on into the joint, and he wasn't happy that he couldn't be seated immediately for dinner. He just could not contain his emotions after learning that. The dude gets all uppity about it. He starts puffing his chest out.
Oh, tough.
And getting in the face of the manager. And like Ashley said, you know, if you're the type of person to start a fight with a restaurant manager over dinner reservations on Mother's Day, you're obviously a tough guy. Not a lot of dudes have the balls to fight a restaurant manager, Josh, over dinner reservations on Mother's Day.
Which is one of the most stressful days for restaurants, by far.
So the manager tells Captain Hard-On to cool it, or he's calling the police. Unfortunately, at that very moment, little bitch boy saw a waiter hauling around a tray with about 24 different dinner plates balancing on it, and the half-adult, half-little bitch boy knocked the double-decker food tray out of the waiter's hands, and then the bitch left.
I hate this man.
My first response was anger. Literally walks up to one of our staff and kind of puts his chest in his, which was uncalled for. When he was approached, he got aggressive. This type of behavior warrants that we find this person.
It kind of reminded me, though, of how you said, because he did it like you described when you were in school, knocking people's books out of their hands as they're carrying a big pile of books.
Yeah.
He did. It was so nonchalant. It was just like that.
It was exactly like that. Dumping a kid's books in the hallway in junior high.
I would have had a meltdown if I was this server.
And that poor server, he kind of looked back like, I don't understand what happened, why this happened.
Why me?
What did I do? Was that an accident? I don't get it.
Like Josh said, there is video. The cops are going to try to find this prick. Food ended up, all over the joint. Yeah. Just everywheres.
There's shrimp scampi on the walls.
It's so bad. That video is up on 93x.com.
Dude didn't get his way when he wanted it. And this was the end result. He bashes everyone's dinner up in the air.
I bet Mom was proud.
Oh, yeah. They didn't mention that his mother was there with him, but I don't know. If she was, maybe she's a moron too.
Maybe she applauded that. It was like, yeah, you made my Mother's Day. You taking her off right after your to your mother.
Imagine the folks in the kitchen.
Yeah, they got to remake all.
They got to start all over again.
Or
They're
the
already
folks that they were waiting for their food.
Yeah,
got to wait a little.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
If it's Mother's Day, the kitchen's already backed up as it is.
Here's some good news on this stupid-ass incident. People who really like this seafood joint have been calling up to tip the server who got effed with by this little fake tough guy bitch.
That's nice.
So they've been helping out this server who got embarrassed and ends up all over social media. They're calling in and giving the guy a few bucks.
Has anybody seen any good, memorable meltdowns at a restaurant or a fast food joint or gas station or anything? I'm kind of in a dry spell. Maybe I need to get out more.
I have. I saw one where a guy was ridiculous. And this was at a Chipotle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like their cash register was down or something. They couldn't take cash. And he flipped out, like went nuts. He knocked over napkins.
Oh, man.
He just grabbed forks, threw them, and kind of stormed out, and that was that.
For what reason?
Something was going on where they couldn't take cash that day.
Oh,
card only.
Yeah, it was card only.
Son
They let him know.
Bastard!
And he was furious.
It's not their fault.
Well, that's what, and they could not have been nicer about it, and were apologetic and said, there's something going on here. Nothing we can do.
That's what I'm wondering. What happened to you? How did this become you? How is this the way you're... I'm glad you asked, Dana. Have you guys met my bro Squirrel?
Don't think so.
Would I know him by his real name?
No.
Or is that his real name?
I don't think you guys have met, Josh. Squirrel's a pimp. He and I went to a joint recently, all-you-can-eat buffet type joint, right?
Mm-hmm.
We walk up to the register. What do they call it? The cash register. This is how the gimmick works. You buy a ticket. They hand you a ticket. When they say go get in line for the buffet. The food wasn't quite all out front yet. So Squirrel and I got our ticket. We're standing there. In comes this old-timer. He also buys a ticket. And he's standing there with Squirrel and I looking very confused. And he looks at Squirrel and I and he says, how does this work? And we said, the food's not quite all ready yet. They said it'll only be a few minutes. But when the food is all up and ready and they say go, you go on up to the buffet line, hand them your ticket, and you eat. He made the most disgusted face I had seen in a long time, throws his ticket up in the air, and leaves.
What?
And Squirrel didn't even get it at first. Said, what happened to that guy? And I said, he just pissed his pants because he found out he had to wait 4 or 5 more minutes to eat. The ticket for the it was like $15, $20. It wasn't nothing.
Mm-hmm.
He said, he didn't say a word. He made a face like he had never been so offended in his life. Threw the ticket in the air, walked away. So Squirrel and I picked up the ticket and gave it to the next person who walked in. Here you go, free dinner.
Beautiful.
I just don't understand it. How do you get to that point in your life?
Yeah, unless maybe he got the worst news that morning. It was just everything was falling apart. It's like the movie Falling Down. What a stressful movie that is, by the way.
I love that movie.
I do too.
But I know you, Josh. I've seen you on your worst days. You wouldn't react that way.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, I'm just trying to think of maybe the guy's not a complete jackass. Maybe there was just some things going on. But you're right. I mean, there are folks that's just how they operate. So going back to this Miami guy, though, right, that was pissed. He had to wait in line for Mother's Day. I mean, if you've ever tried to make a Mother's Day reservation, it's tougher than getting into a dermatologist. Mm-hmm. I mean, you really have to make it at least a month ahead, if not more.
Yep.
I mean, you have to really plan ahead, I've learned.
And Ashley, isn't it an all-hands-on-deck situation? Like when you take a job, you know you can't take Mother's Day off at a restaurant.
Yeah, that's usually the case. Or if you do get any holidays off, you usually have to pick like 2 or 3, and Mother's Day is included in one of those.
Yeah,
weird.
I was too late on. I tried a couple of months ahead of time, and the restaurants I know my wife and mother-in-law and mom like to go to couldn't get in at a time that worked for everyone, so I ended up making a nice egg bake at home.
You made
wonderful.
a nice
I did.
egg bake.
I bet it was delicious.
And people commented.
Aren't you adorable?
People commented on the amount of shell that was in there. Very crunchy.
I can picture Josh just with the apron on, a little flour on the face, as he's whipping up these eggs.
What a pimp
Adorable.
you could put a samurai sword to my jugular and I couldn't tell you step 1 on how to create an egg bake.
YouTube.
Acquire eggs.
YouTube. Here's a listener saying...
Sorry, Ashley, that just sunk in. Acquire eggs. Yes. That was step one.
The story about me and Squirrel and the old-timer who his pants because he had to wait 4 minutes for dinner. This question from a text message. Was it at a casino? Maybe the dude had just been cleaned out by the craps table. It was not at a casino. It was at a bondage club.
Oh.
Squirrel and I like to go over to, they call it Lockdown's Bondage Club. They kick your ass right after you have a buffet dinner.
Brewers and High Life Jesus has a theory on the guy that flipped out I was telling you about at Chipotle where they wouldn't take cash or couldn't take cash. He was somewhere he wasn't supposed to be, and his wife was going to see the transaction on the bank statement. Oh. That's his theory. Wait, doesn't that girl from work live in Egan? What's going on? What in Egan?
Maybe he was going to get busted
We live in Anoka.
Here's a damned revolutionary idea, by God. It says right here, scientists from Finland, and right here, in the once proud United States, are in the process of developing a special type of chewing gum. Did you hear that? Chewing gum that can keep you from catching the flu and stop you from picking up a case of herpes. I'll tell you what, boys.
Wonderful.
No more worrying about hooking up with strangers on those cabin trips now. A chewing gum that can fight off viruses. The story gets all science-y and boring from here. But I can just picture a carload of drunken dudes all passing this gum around the cab of a pickup before they walk into some crappy roadhouse in Pewabic or Ortonville or something like that. No worry about catching herpes now. Imagine how this gum. Imagine how this gum, Josh, would sell on college campuses if it prevents herpes.
Oh, I bet it would be a big seller.
Yeah.
I wouldn't need it anymore, I hope, but I'd be interested in that back in the day.
You still have herpes, I think, Josh. It's just it hasn't flared up in years.
Not quite yet.
But you still have herpes. You always have it. Once you catch it, you always have it.
It's
you just
the
haven't
gift that keeps on giving.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'll have a party. I'll let you guys know when it's inflamed.
Flare-up party.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Like my bro had a zero-count party when he got a vasectomy. Anyway, the story talks about how this new chewing gum will neutralize not only human flu viruses, but, also the damn bird flu. Oh, my old pal Lou. He'll be excited about this. Right now, Lou is saying, where the hell was this gum 20 years ago? Lou caught the bird flu from a stripper in Wisconsin years ago. He was very sick. One of the doctors involved in this new chewing gum said, by targeting viruses where they spread most efficiently in the oral cavity, this product could address a major gap in healthcare. So the folks behind this setup are hoping to begin human testing soon. Any takers out there?
Ooh. No.
Oh, yeah, I'd try it for the flu. I mean, I had the flu super bad last year.
You had everything super bad last year.
Yeah, last year was a rough one for your pal Cubby.
Sick, dude.
That was, the doctor had said, this is the worst I've ever seen anybody with the flu. So I'd try that gum.
It got to a point where you would text us all in the group and let us know your latest just horrific disease that no one's ever heard of. Like, you've got to be joking at this point.
That was a fun year.
A chewing gum that'll keep you from getting the herp when you're out of town and the wife ain't looking. This is going to sell.
I remember the first time I heard you could get mouth herpes. Can you imagine that? Oh, I mean, like a cold sore is herpes, right? Isn't that what people say?
Right.
Or similar. It's in the same family.
Yeah, one's just much more fun than the other. A cold sore, boring. A real herpes from a sex act, tons of fun for everyone involved. A bro that I used to play softball with showed up once for a ball game with a herpes the size of a monkey fist on his lower lip, and we had the time of our lives for a couple of weeks.
Was it
that
from...
That is fun.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
It was from going down on...
an infected individual.
Yeah.
Insomniac Jesus says if you had chicken pox as a kid, you have a version of herpes.
Right. But we all know which one is...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to earn herpes.
Right.
Versus being born with it. Congenital herpes.
All right. In closing here, this is something that comes off kind of cute. I guess a dorky, touristy fact. is maybe how I would define this. Back in 1991, I learned that Maple Lake, Minnesota, is known for its citizens' inability to engage in a fair one-on-one fistfight. They all jump in. Little touristy fact that I learned back in the day. This here town in California has a quirky thing that it's known for. You need a permit to wear high heels in this town. It's a town called Carmel by the Sea, California.
Do you ever wear high heels, Ashley?
Yeah, I do. I love heels.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
They seem very uncomfortable.
They can be. I don't know. I like the sound. I guess it's worth it in the long run.
Clip. Do you like
Some of them are actually, some of them feel pretty good.
So you like the sound of them?
Yes, it's the best.
I guess I do too.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's very satisfying.
I don't like when my wife wears them, though, because then she's taller than me, and I feel silly.
She isn't taller than you anyway?
No. I got a couple inches on her.
Yeah. All right, so.
Stop that.
Yeah, I know.
Leaving it alone.
It's too easy. In a town called Carmel by the Sea, California, visitors, or anyone, I guess, needs to get an official permit in order to legally walk in heels higher than 2 inches. The permit is free. Many visitors get it simply as a souvenir, even if they don't plan on walking in heels. The law making it illegal to wear high heels in public on the streets of Carmel by the Sea. That law was passed in 1963. It had a very specific purpose, and it was so ladies don't trip and go ass over apple cart in their town and sue them.
Oh.
The city, I guess, has many big, fat, stupid trees. You guys know that I hate trees.
Yeah.
And the roots push up through the sidewalks in this town and create tripping hazards. Uneven sidewalks and narrow high heels don't really go well together, they say in this town. So the city attorney, way back in the day, considered the risk of tripping, and he proposed this law or whatever, proposed this idea for there to be a permit to prevent people from suing the city in case of an accident.
Yeah, I suppose people can't be lawsuit happy, but they say those heels are ankle breakers, right? You just break it, you step on something wrong, or one of them breaks, and you're in some serious trouble.
Yeah. So if you happen to fall in this town while wearing high heels taller than 2 inches, and you shatter your hood piercing or whatever, you're on your own. You're on your own.
My ankles are shot from playing basketball growing up, just so many sprained ankles that they still will roll very easily. I can just be walking down the hallway and an ankle just give out on me.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I got one of those too.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know. So it makes you more susceptible?
Yep. There's like no cartilage left in there. But a couple of years ago, I wore high heels for the first and only time. It was for, I did a charity drag brunch thing. And these heels, actually, I don't even consider them heels. They were more like wedges, and they were like 2 inches maybe. And I was shuffling the whole time because I was so convinced I was going to do a double ankle break on myself. It probably looked like I had to go to the bathroom, like how short these little tiny dainty steps I was making were.
Yeah, women get used to it.
My right ankle, like Dana was saying, I'll just be standing completely still in the kitchen and it'll go weep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my wife looked like, what the hell did you just do? Are you hammered?
It'll go sideways on me because I tore the piss out of it when I was a kid. Anyway, remember a couple weeks ago when we declared Uncle Terry to be the greatest YouTube video of all time?
Yes.
Yes.
Did we mention? We should have mentioned one for me personally that's right up there, and that's the great. I'll certainly call it the greatest news audio ever, the greatest television news audio ever. The two anchors, 3 of them actually, 2 men and a woman, 2 men and a woman, and they're watching the video of that gal who can't walk on her high heels on a runway at a fashion show. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
Vaguely.
And the two news anchor guys are laughing so uncontrollably, and they have the funniest laughs. It is, I can watch it 10, 15, 20 times in a row. You guys don't remember that one, huh?
Not off the top of my head.
God.
I know we played it before. I'm trying to see if we still have it. It doesn't look like we do.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I just wanted to make mention of it. Look that up on YouTube. A model is walking down a runway. She keeps falling off of her high heels in a very hilarious way, and the anchor guys are just inconsolable on the subject. Check that out when you get a minute. What are we
Carmel
listening
by the
to?
Sea. That was High Heels.
Oh,
Carmel by the
I like
Sea.
it.
You know, do you guys recognize that name at all?
Is that where
No.
Clint Eastwood
Clint
was?
Eastwood, yeah. He was the mayor in the late 80s.
Oh,
Yeah.
funny.
I thought, was it, but it was, I thought he was Caramel, California.
Well, I thought it was Carmel by the Sea or whatever, however they pronounce it.
Whatever, yeah. I remember something about that. Yeah, Clint Eastwood being involved in the... we got to take a break. We'll check the sports when we come back.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Nobody likes a know-it-all who sits around talking about their genitalia.
On 93X.
Sports. On the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
It's Fashion Week over in Paris. The latest fashions are on the runway for next spring. But there was a problem out there today. One of the British designers' shows had a difficulty. A model fell down twice. That's her going down once. The young woman wearing that pink skirt and the orange platform shoes never quite recovered after that. There she goes again. That had to hurt. That was uncool. That's embarrassing. This is at least the second time.
Well, you all are just feeling tickled by that, aren't you? You try walking in those shoes.
Hey, first of all, baby, I got enough meat on me that it's all right.
George. I'm sorry. Come on, girl.
We want to apologize.
Hold on. You want to try?
You want me to report?
You're a dog. Oh, he lives to do that to me.
That's a friggin' television news crew right there. I would watch those bastards every night. They're having the time of their lives.
Yeah, they
My
enjoy each other's company.
God, I
that's for
love
sure.
that audio. I bet you those two male anchors have spent a lot of long nights drinking together.
Oh, for sure.
After the show is over.
Kind
I
of
love
sounded
that.
like they did before the show
Maybe.
even started.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, like the beginning here.
It's Fashion Week over in Paris. The latest fashions are on the runway for.
He kind of sounds a little
Yeah,
drunk
he
right
sounds
there.
a little affected. Can we put that video up on our website? I know it's older than the hills, but we were talking earlier. Certainly my favorite news clip I've ever seen on YouTube is those two anchors having the time of their lives watching video of this poor model who can't walk in her high heels at a fashion show. And the video also that they're watching is very funny. The way this gal's ankles are just buckling like shit. It's unbelievable. All right. Thank you for that, Josh. Thanks
for bringing that up.
I love hearing those boys go by. I wonder how they're doing these days. If they were older fellers, I wonder if they retired from the game. Thunderwolves. Wasn't that a kid show?
Thundercats, you're thinking of?
I was thinking of Thundercats.
Oh, I liked that when I was a kid.
Did you? What was their operation?
Thundercats?
Were they like robot cats that would pull an artery out of your thigh and watch you bleed out on the street?
No, they weren't robot cats.
Oh, just regular cats?
That one Snarf with that character?
I couldn't tell you.
Did you watch it?
I never watched it, no.
I remember it being said out loud before. Thundercat. Tonight we're talking...
Like 5th grade, I think, is when that came out.
Yeah.
I like the Thundercats.
They're described as cat-like humanoid aliens.
They're aliens. Thunderwolves, Game 1 of their best-of-7 Western Conference Final Series starts tonight at 7:30 or 8 or whenever they feel like getting around to it on ESPN. It's a nerve-wracking situation. We'll talk to Randy Shaver. See Willi Myles will also be here in a half hour. Last night's Guardians-Twins game was suspended in the 4th inning because of rain, and the Twins were up 2-1, so they'll continue that tonight and then play another game. We'll talk to Glen Perkins in a half hour about the Twins. Tonight is Game 1 of the ladies' hockey final. The Frosty Frost, the local club here in town, plays at Ottawa tonight for Game 1. Cubbies News is coming up next.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Actor Michael Rosenbaum, he knows some of the most talented people in the business.
Will Wheaton is here. I'm getting ready to do this podcast. I text my Star Trek family. That is a supernatural impulse.
If you're here for Jay Moore, you found the right place.
Have you always had a large personality? The nicest way anybody's ever put it. You always warn people out.
From Twilight, Ashley Green.
We were just like, no one's going to see this. This is not going to be a good movie.
I really love the movie.
Don't feel bad.
The Inside of You podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
In the 60s, I made love to many, many women, often outdoors, in the mud and the rain. And it's possible a man slipped in. Would be no way of knowing.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
93X. All of a sudden, a gentleman just opens the door frantically and screams, "Call the cops."
A Texas man stabbed a fellow bus passenger Wednesday night for no other reason than the victim looked like his uncle, who apparently he hated. According to investigators, the 31-year-old suspect attacked the 30-year-old man around 6:45 p.m. on a bus in Austin, completely unprovoked. It was about the 31-year-old suspect. Apparently, he went after the 30-year-old man sitting quietly at the back of the bus. Surveillance footage showed the victim minding his own business, head down, not interacting with anyone. Then out of nowhere, the attacker pulled out a butcher knife, raised it high, and plunged it into the victim.
Come on.
When the bus came to a stop, the attacker slipped out with the rest of the passengers and walked away. It didn't take long for police to track him down, though. After being detained, the suspect confessed he did stab the man because he bore a resemblance to his uncle. The 31-year-old has a criminal history, primarily misdemeanors, dating back to 2016. Most of them apparently were run-ins like last February, where he was arrested for trespassing. He had a lot of trespassing arrests.
That's brutal.
This was at the most recent one at a Target near the University of Texas campus after repeatedly being told to stay away. Yeah, I mean, how do you prevent something like that?
I don't know.
Just completely at random because the dude looked like his uncle.
I'm going to try a little harder, Josh, to look like somebody's aunt from here on out.
Or just a beloved celebrity that no one would ever be.
Make myself out to be Weird Al Yankovic as much as possible. He's a beloved celebrity, is he not?
I would think he's universally loved.
Universally loved.
Of all the things you don't want on a flight, screaming babies, terrible turbulence, or the guy who claps when you land, an unconscious pilot probably tops the list. Unfortunately, on a routine trip from Spain to Germany, a perfect storm of potty timing and plummeting health nearly punched a one-way ticket to disaster for 200 unsuspecting passengers. As the flight prepared to cross into Spain, the captain took the opportunity to take a first-class poop, but when he tried to re-enter the cockpit 8 minutes later, he couldn't.
Yeah, this is your captain speaking. Who the locked the door when I went to take a shit?
And that's what happened. A flight attendant tried to help by using the intercom to contact the first officer, but got no response.
Oh, no, the dude was sleepy.
While nothing had seemed wrong with the 38-year-old co-pilot at the time the captain left the cockpit, he lost consciousness at some point during the captain's trip to the John. Eventually, the first officer regained consciousness and was able to open the door, leaving the flight unmanned for an estimated 10 minutes. Meanwhile, the captain diverted the flight to the closest airport so the co-pilot could get immediate medical attention.
Whew. Sketchy.
Well, he had a neurological disorder, and He had a seizure.
I'll be damned.
Didn't have the fish, but he passed out due to a seizure. Investigators recommended officials reassess the risks of leaving one pilot alone on the flight deck after that incident. It's not the only aviation scare making headlines this week. This time, the trouble was on the ground. The FAA is investigating a brief radio system outage which occurred yesterday at the Air Traffic Control Center overseeing flights at Newark Liberty International. It marks the fourth such incident at Newark in just 3 weeks.
The radio stopped working.
Yeah, for a little bit there.
I'll be damned.
A 35-year-old groom-to-be was almost detained boarding a bachelor party trip after airport security mistook his costume for a real airline uniform.
They had hilarious costumes going at this bachelor party, huh?
Dressed in a navy and yellow flight attendant-style outfit, complete with a fake Ryanair lanyard bearing the name Joanne, Joe Vale had cleared security and was relaxing with drinks when he was suddenly approached by 4 airport security officers. They told him he couldn't board the flight because he was impersonating airline crew. The outfit, which was the idea of his best man, Rob, was a costume idea which came from TikTok, a trend meant as a joke. We wanted him to look ridiculous, but he ended up looking a little too convincing, Rob said. Despite their explanations, it was just a gag, and pointing out another bachelor party member dressed as a pilot who wasn't even questioned. After a tense back and forth, the supervisor finally agreed to let Vale board, but only if he handed over the fake lanyard. Once they realized there was no threat, Ryanair crew said they did find the situation pretty funny.
That Rob is not one you want to turn your back on, Cubby. He's a real wild card.
He'll come up with some stuff.
It's crazy.
He will think of some things.
Why did they consider it a threat? That's the word I'm not understanding.
They didn't know if it was somebody trying to pretend they're a crew member to cause some harm on the plane.
I understand at this point. Okay, I apologize.
Another security scare hit O'Hare International this weekend, this time involving a delivery driver who drove into unauthorized secured areas before someone realized he wasn't supposed to be there. Sources say the well-meaning, directionally challenged driver zipped through miles of restricted roadways, merrily that is, motoring through what may have included active runways, before someone finally spotted him from air traffic control.
I mean, how often does something like that happen?
Luckily, not very often, but I have seen it at other airports. It's frightening when you're up and then you go, who the heck is that?
Chicago police confirmed the 36-year-old man's actions were a mistake.
I could be that bad of a delivery driver, I think, Josh, if you gave me a chance.
Well, some of that's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you're not too familiar with the area. He accidentally drove in an unauthorized secured area within O'Hare, so no charges were filed. Officials expressed relief the incident occurred during the day, noting the outcome could have been far worse had it happened at night.
Now imagine if this had been at night where no one noticed this person. Headlights all look the same pretty much in the dark. This could have been really, really bad.
What is that, the airline safety podcast or something? Who are those people?
The news is just interviewing one of the officials there.
Oh, I have a terrible sense of direction.
Chicago's O'Hare and Midway International have had several security scares in the past 6 months. April 15th, a pistol-packing passenger was pulled from a United Airlines flight at O'Hare and arrested. February 25th, the Southwest Airlines plane at Midway had to abort its landing when a private jet crossed into its path while taxiing. And on Christmas Eve, O'Hare staff got to unwrap a dead stowaway found in the wheel well of a United plane headed to Maui.
Yeah, I would probably F that up as well. I was not born with any sense of direction. What about you, Josh? Are you all right in that department?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah? Lucky bastard. I don't know if I'm facing north, east, south. I don't know. I never have any idea.
2 children were injured after a school bus veered off the road and crashed into a playground at a child community center in South Minneapolis yesterday. Happened just before 4:15 p.m. 3 kids playing in the area when the bus came through, leaving 2 of them with injuries, not life-threatening, thankfully. But they did take a trip to the hospital to be checked out. Still unclear what caused the bus to leave the road, but authorities said it collided with an SUV before crashing into the playground.
Crazy. I mean, come on now. A daycare playground.
The bus driver and the 2 children riding it were not hurt.
And when you saw him okay?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Just a big hug. A big hug and a kiss and I love you.
I love you too. No citations have been issued and impairment is not suspected to be a factor.
A 45-year-old man is facing criminal charges after leading police on a dangerous chase through a Woodbury soccer field over the weekend. About 1:30 p.m. Saturday, police spotted the man's vehicle in the parking lot of a Cub Foods. They tried to pull him over, knowing he had an active warrant for fourth-degree assault. But instead of stopping, he took off. According to the criminal complaint, he ran a stop sign, blew through a red light as police lights and sirens blared behind him. He weaved in and out of lanes, swerved onto the shoulder, and came dangerously close to hitting other vehicles. Then the SUV sped across a soccer field. The chase continued on the westbound 94 toward St. Paul, with the suspect at times driving on the wrong side of the road. It all came to an end near Cretin Avenue, where the man crashed and was taken into custody. He's scheduled to make his first court appearance today.
Well, what the hell is going on there?
A golfer at a Chicago area course was seriously injured after a car chase turned the fairways into a freeway. The 70-year-old was hit last Monday by an out-of-control and angry SUV driver with a sedan driven by a golf course staffer in hot pursuit. He was attempting to get that SUV to stop.
He's like honking at him, trying to pit maneuver the guy. Like he's, they're getting close on the fairway, just like not quite bumping, but getting close.
Video showed the sedan aggressively chasing the SUV across the rolling hills of the greens as several golfers looked on.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome.
During the pursuit, the SUV driver mowed down the victim near the fifth hole of the course and kept going.
Come out and I see this older gentleman laying right there in the grass. And two ladies attending to him. So I went out there and he wasn't moving, but when I got there, he opened up his eyes and he could speak.
Nearby, a witness heard the commotion and walked out of his house. Another bystander said the driver flashed what could have been a 3-inch blade when exiting the vehicle. The reckless driver is now in custody. The 70-year-old golfer is recovering, and fortunately, no one else was hurt.
Crazy.
2 customers are suing Foot Locker after a deeply weird and wildly inappropriate run-in with a security guard at its Harlem store. According to the lawsuit, the guard groped both men during their visit, at one point fingering a man's belly button.
Yeah, no, don't do that. No.
He then turned to another man with some unsolicited flattery, complimenting his, quote, nice booty, while getting handsy without permission.
How did he get his fingers inside somebody's belly button?
He lifted up his shirt and booped him. The incident happened on the afternoon of June 24th. One of the men said he was browsing the shoe section when the guard began making creepy remarks before graduating to unwelcome physical contact. The behavior didn't stop there. He said the guard repeated the same actions 3 times, when no other employees were nearby. The guard then turned his attention to the second man, who was waiting to try on a pair of Nikes. The guard lifted the man's shirt, touched his stomach, and delivered a double-dip belly button poke from out of nowhere.
That is the silliest thing I've heard all day.
One of the victims managed to snap a photo of the guard to document the incident. The lawsuit also claims the guard was eyeing and harassing another shopper as well.
I'd like to believe that a man wouldn't be able to finger my belly button against my will.
Is that a challenge?
No. I can't imagine someone getting away with that. But, you had to be there, I guess.
A 30-year-old Ontario woman sank her teeth into trouble and a loss prevention officer, earning herself a 3-month stay in the clink. Biting's gross. It leads to infection, prosecutor Michael Donald said when describing the dental debacle. And the judge added, biting someone is vile. The incident happened at a no-frills grocery store where the officer approached Jerica Trowbridge after noticing items had gone missing from her cart following a trip to the washroom. Turns out it wasn't her first retail rodeo. According to police, she also lifted liquor and shoplifted at a gas station at least 5 times. In court, she seemed to understand the gravity of the situation and apologized for biting the employee.
Gravity of the situation, Ashley. You didn't even catch that.
She also told the judge if she could go back in time, she would change things. Speaking of turning back time, today is Cher's 79th birthday.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, boy.
It's all D-Picks and Netflix today for the debut of Untold: The Fall of Favre. Delving into the NFL legend's controversial career, a documentary about the dark side of sports stardom and the scandals that marred his legacy. The documentary dives into his post-retirement ventures, exposing how a photo of the QB's unsolicited gridiron groin and involvement with misappropriated state funds unraveled his public image.
Yeah, he went nuts.
No, actually, you don't need to watch it because I saw some Facebook comments that this is all made up and it's all just a conspiracy. So
seriously, people are saying this is a conspiracy?
Yeah, they say it's all just a media takedown of the legendary Brett Favre.
Oh, I hadn't heard people thought that way.
Yeah, I was surprised that the comments go that far down to a quarterback and the awful things he's done.
Sometimes I forget about how powerful we are, Josh, the media.
We're all in on it.
I know. Trust me, I'm in on this. But why am I in on it again? I forget.
Because you're media, man.
Just to take down the all-powerful Favre.
Former
just because you
Brett
can,
Favre.
Josh, because you can.
I would not do that. Time for a morning thumb workout. Text the word GOOD, G-O-O-D, good, to the Luther Bloomington Kia text line, 651-989-9393. That'll give you a chance at 93X Family Reunion tickets. Your text also means you're automatically qualified for the grand prize, a once-in-a-lifetime VIP soundcheck party with Evanescence, who, along with Poppy, Dorothy, and Black Map, will perform at the X Friday, September 19th.
The word again is?
GOOD, G-O-O-D.
Good!
Good! Tickets are officially on sale now. You can look for the concert link on 93x.com for more information. Thank you to Ledge Entertainment for giving us this prize. Timothy Oliphant, 57. The aforementioned Cher, 79. Happy birthday to Ninja Audrey, turning 11 today. Happy birthday to Mar-a-Lago Jesus, turning 37. And congratulations to Northwoods Cop Jesus and Hot Cheeto Fingers Jesus on the birth of their baby boy. We got a new one in the Brotherhood from Tonka TIG Welding Jesus. That's 93X News.
And now a Minnesota Twins update. We're talking Twins with former All-Star closer, Glen Perkins. On 93X.
We brought the dog out of each other. You can call us the dog kennel. You can call us the dog shelter. You can call us the dog pound. We got a bunch of dogs out there. That's DAWG. And actually have some dog comparisons with the whole pen. So we got Danny and Cole Sands. Danny's a French bulldog. Sands is an English bulldog. Topa, he's a stray. He's a pit bull mix. He's a mutt. Fundy's an Irish wolfhound. Alcala is a pit bull. Drifts, Weimaraner, yes, however that's pronounced. Brock is a Rhodesian Ridgeback. Duran is a Cane Corso. And I am a Presa Canario.
That was the sound of Ashley's grade school boyfriend, Louis Varland, comparing the Twins' bullpen to a dog pound.
That was hilarious.
That's a lot of dogs.
He was good to go.
I couldn't recognize half those breeds, by the way.
I had to look up a few of them, too.
Wow.
DAWG.
He must have done some research for that. He didn't go with the easy dogs. He went with some pretty exotic ones.
Right.
And you can tell he prepared, too, because he wrote it down in a note card and brought it out. Like, he brought notes to the interview.
That was funny.
So cute.
Yeah, I watched that.
He really wanted to use, and he couldn't even, he said, however you pronounce that.
Yeah.
I like that. That was a commitment.
I caught that on the pregame show and was one of those situations where for a second there I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing as Louis was rolling through. Here we are. We're joined in studio by world-class entertainer C. Willi Myles. No golfing today, huh, C. Willi?
Start tomorrow.
All right. Randy Shaver should be around here somewhere. Randy Shaver.
Hello.
And here's a guy, I suppose we could have just given him the day off, but we like him too damn much. It's Glen Perkins. You're not a meteorologist, are you, Glenn?
No, I'm not. But I think I know enough to know that it doesn't look great. I was right last week.
Yeah.
Yes, you were.
So you are, Mira.
That was 1 week ago today, and it does not look good.
It's a good day to be a duck.
Yeah, that's right. It's a good day to stay inside. It's a good day if you were a duck. Bad day if you're a dog because you're going to go outside, you're going to come back in, you're going to get the house dirty, and
That's the worst.
No.
They hate that.
All right,
Yeah.
Glenn. What kind of dog are you?
Oh man, I'm going to have to ask Louis.
Okay.
I can't do that. I can't breed myself. I can't give myself a dog breed. So.
Well, you're loyal because you haven't gone anywhere. You've stayed right here, born and bred. You're a loyal dog. So maybe you're just a big fat-headed lab or something like that. You know what I mean? They're known for their loyalty, are they not, the Labradors?
Yeah, definitely.
Talk to Louie. Maybe he can assign you a dog breed. So there you go. Yeah, last night the Guardians-Twins game was suspended in the fourth inning because of rain, and the Twins were up 2-1. So they're going to try to resume tonight at 5 o'clock and wrap up yesterday's game. And then 30 minutes after that game is completed, they'll go ahead with the regularly scheduled Tuesday game. If, in fact, they can get things to dry out a little bit. But it's not looking good. Not looking good at all. Probably be a situation where they reschedule a couple of games later in the summer. Right, boys?
I think they're going to have to. And fortunately, with it being a Central Division team, they're going to come back again. So I think they're going to probably have to try to play 2 tomorrow, and then they'll have to play. I think they're like mid-late September.
Yeah.
Which potentially could be interesting if the Tigers ever come back down to earth. It seems like they're going to have a hard time getting them all in on this road trip or this series here for Cleveland.
So, Glenn, what's the difference between suspending a game like they did last night and actually just calling the game and starting from scratch?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know. I don't ever know how they determine that. Maybe I don't know. I can't even come up with like a scenario where they make one decision or the other. I honestly, I'm not sure. I know that obviously if they play 5, then it's a complete game, and they just. Right. But even sometimes they finish those games. So I really don't know how they determine those things. That's something with the league and the umpires and the organizations. I think that's always been kept out of the players' hands.
Is that something that
and things like that? They try to make the players feel like they have a say in what happens, and they don't.
I mean, it would have made sense last night when it started to rain, and you know that whoever's in charge is well aware of how much rain we're supposed to get today. Last night's game would have made sense to just say, look, we're scrapping this one and we'll schedule it in September. But I wonder if the Twins can make a stink about it, like, say, Rocco can say, no, we got a 2-1 lead. We want this one to continue. We got 5 innings in. We got a 2-1 lead. We want this one. Is that a possibility, Glenn?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I know that the teams will talk, and then they're talking with the league, and I do think that the home team has preference in what happens to a degree. I think if the Twins were losing 7-0, they can't say, "Oh, we're going to start over tomorrow."
Hit the reset button.
But so last week when they got rained out and they rescheduled that doubleheader, we were talking to Rocco the next morning, and they brought up Cody Funderburk as the extra guy, and we asked him, "Is he going to be available in Game 1?" And Rocco said that because the game is rescheduled and is the next day, we have to get with the Orioles in this case and say, do we want our extra man available for the first game, the second game, or both games? And they came to the determination, both teams did, that they would have the extra guy available only for Game 2. And so there are scenarios where the teams will talk and discuss and figure out the best way forward, along with MLB and their help. So
there's a lot of complicated rules in baseball.
Yeah, I think last night they tried to cram that game in knowing that they weren't going to play today.
Yeah.
And that if they didn't get last night's game in, they were going to have to play an extra game in September.
All right.
And so I think that's why they tried to force that one in, because normally you wouldn't do that. They didn't want to burn Bailey over in the way they did. And so they've lost a pitcher, and they didn't get the game done, I mean, it doesn't seem like they're going to play today, so they got to play another one in September. You never want to kick the can down the road. It always seems like a good idea in the moment, like, hey, we can rest our guys, we can get a day off, and we'll take care of this later on. But everybody's going to be more tired in August or September than they are in middle of May.
Right.
And so kicking the can down the road is never a good idea, and so I think that's why they tried to force that one in last night.
Well, if they get around to it, it could be a long night. A game and a half of baseball scheduled tonight, and at least what I have in front of me is Gavin Williams pitching for Cleveland and Chris Paddock for the Twins. We'll see. I don't remember if we've run this by Glen Perkins before, but we weren't kidding. Our gal Ashley here on the program, when she was in grade school, her boyfriend was Louis Varland, and now here they are. The both of them have reached unparalleled stardom here. We weren't kidding about that. So our gal Ashley, say hello to Glen Perkins. So
Hey, Glenn.
that's Ashley.
Yeah, we went to school together.
She
we grew
and
up
Louis
together.
Varland, yeah, they dated in the second grade.
That was North St. Paul, right? Is that North St. Paul?
Yep.
Yeah.
And tell him what happened, what you did after he dumped you, Ashley.
Oh, I guess I found out I kicked him in the shin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought my friend, one of my girlfriends at the time, slapped him for me, but
You
he does
kicked
not
him.
recall.
You
so.
kicked Louis.
Yeah, I guess I kicked him in his shin.
Yeah.
Which is why he has the permanent
What grade was this? That doesn't seem like a reason to break up.
Oh God, we were super young. Yeah, maybe I think first grade.
That checks out.
What did you say? I'm sorry?
I said I think it was first grade.
First grade.
Yeah. So.
All right.
That track.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a good time. He was the fastest kid in school.
She
so.
liked him because he was fast.
Yeah, that was a big deal when you were that old.
His foot speed.
Yep.
I think he's a good athlete.
All right.
Yeah,
He's a
his
really
whole
good
family is. They're all very good athletes.
Yeah.
And so Ashley desperately tried to reconnect with him when he made it to the bigs.
Oh yeah, you know me.
Apologize.
And
Yeah.
he said, no, thanks. Louis still here. Glenn's still here. Did the grade school girlfriends ever try to give you a call, Glenn, and see what's up or what?
Yeah, I've changed my phone number enough times. I think that they've lost track.
It's adorable. It's adorable. The old Louis and Ashley story.
I used to have his phone number written on my wall
Oh yeah.
because I didn't want to forget it. So his house phone number.
Oh, yeah.
I remember doing that.
Calling the house phone, asking for the guy or the gal.
Yep.
I remember writing a couple phone numbers right there on the wall next to the telephone.
I remember his parents getting irritated about the amount of times that I've called.
In first grade, you were ringing his phone upside down.
Oh yeah. Heck yeah.
Social anxiety Jesus brings up. I think you mentioned this before, Ashley, that didn't he say he would be your boyfriend, but you couldn't tell anyone?
Yeah.
You had to keep it secret.
You got side pieced in first grade.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's
So
a hookup, though.
Glenn, can you tell us anything about your very first girlfriend?
I actually want to know, does Louis know that you are a local radio personality now?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
We went to high school together, so.
Did he make you sign a
We've kept in
contract
touch.
or anything that you wouldn't talk about?
No. Yeah, I think we're
Obviously
still
not.
friends on Facebook or something. I
They're
don't know.
still Facebook friends, Glenn.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Sweet Lou. He's friends with everybody.
Yeah, I'm friends with his family too, so that makes it easier.
Like I
Seems
said,
like a nice guy.
It's adorable. Glenn Perkins' first girlfriend. Tell us all about it.
I honestly do not remember.
Oh, yeah? Really?
Elementary school, probably trying to kiss girls on the bus, riding to school.
Yeah.
Normal stuff. There's no name. I don't remember names. I'm terrible with names in the first place. Horrible.
That would explain why you didn't have a girlfriend. You couldn't remember her name.
Yeah.
You really don't. You don't remember any of their names.
That's key.
That's going to be tough in your job.
Right.
This is really bad. That there's names that come up of people that I played in the big leagues with that I don't remember.
Good Lord. Look at number 34. He's really running.
It's like the Ricky Henderson back in the day. Did you guys remember John Olerud?
Oh yeah. It's one of my favorite stories. Yeah. Go ahead, Glenn.
And he was. I think he was with the Mets. Right? This was early in his career. He played with John Olerud, and then late in Ricky Henderson's career, he was a Blue Jay. And he sees a guy at first base wearing a helmet. He says, "Hey, I played in New York with a guy that wore a helmet like that too." And John Olerud said, "Ricky, that was me."
Right. It's one of my favorites ever.
That would happen to me.
Yeah,
that would be me.
Well, Christ. What about, let's see, Willi Myles. What do you remember about your very first girlfriend?
Oh, yeah, Mildred.
Mildred.
Man, you can never forget your first girlfriend.
Yeah.
She was my girlfriend that we never dated, but we were it was our deal. You know what I mean?
It was like a secret between the two of you?
No, man. It was just like I was scared to ask her. She did not want me not to ask her.
Okay.
But she couldn't ask me. But we were there. Everybody knew we were together.
Okay. You and Mildred.
And this is a true story, and it's way too long for radio. But the day I'm gonna just give you the brief. Like this is like 10th grade. I finally said, you know what? Enough of this. I'm gonna ask her to go steady. That was the term.
Right. My damn, you waited all the way to 10th grade.
10th grade, man.
Yeah.
So, but we had been, we did everything together. We were everything,
Yeah.
So, 10th grade, I was gonna ask her. So I go to this store, the Grooving Man. And bought this whole new outfit, man.
Oh, man.
I had some cologne.
Yeah.
And I was smelling good. I was looking good at the afro. Everything was looking good. This was the day I was going to ask her.
The afro was looking good, yeah.
Yeah, to go out, to go steady, right? And we met down by the concession stand at the school. I roll up on her, and I'm looking good, super fly. And just before I got ready to ask her, she goes, you know what I heard today? And I'm like, what? She goes, someone said that we were girlfriend and boyfriend. She said, we're too good of friends to be girlfriends and boyfriends, right?
Son of a bitch.
And I said, you know what I said? Yeah. I said, yeah, why would they say that?
You're right. That's ridiculous.
All we do is hang out. That's what we do. And I was like, I told my dad that. My dad said, she saw you coming, son. He said, you came in too hard. You had new clothes on. Your hair was done up. You smelled good. She's never seen that before.
That's one way to know you came from the deep south when your very first girlfriend's name was Mildred.
Hey.
And it wasn't even that long ago. All right. Glen Perkins, a hitter, that's completely inaccurate. A pitcher last night, starting for the Kansas City Royals, had a no-hit bid that ended with an official scoring change.
Oh.
That hurts.
This is Chris Bubic. I know I've seen him play before for the Royals. Got through.
Yeah, Chris Bubic.
Bubic. Got through 6, which is hilarious, 6 innings against the San Francisco Giants without allowing a hit, only to have an error charged to his second baseman, changed to a single before the start of the 7th inning. And this looked like a friggin' obvious error to me. Did anyone see this video?
Yes.
I did not.
Okay. Josh, this is an obvious error. I think this kid got boned.
He got boned for sure.
But is that some home cooking? Because the Royals were playing in San Francisco. The official scorekeeper is usually a home team guy, right, Glen Perkins?
Yes. Yep.
So I think that's a little home cooking happening there. Now, eventually, this
he gave
Bubic,
up another hit.
He did, but still, who knows how that might have changed the outcome. I thought that was an obvious error. So kind of a ripoff there for this kid from Kansas City, if you ask me.
That's I've never heard of that before.
I don't think I have either, where at the start of the next inning, they changed the official score. I don't think I've heard of that either.
Yeah, I mean, scoring changes happen somewhat frequently.
But to directly affect the no-hitter is
I've not in that case. I have not heard that. I think scoring changes probably happen once every 10 to 15 games.
Yeah.
You'll get a scoring change. But I've never seen it affect a no-hitter. That sucks for Chris Bubic.
Isn't the official scorer is one person sitting in the press box who's in charge of that, if I'm not mistaken, unless it's changed since I used to sit there. What would prompt someone to do that? Are they looking at video? Do they have access to the play to watch it again to make a change?
Yeah, so it's all the preference of the official scorer. Depending on honestly how good they are, the more information they're going to try to collect before they would make that determination. So they're going to look at like exit velocity. They're going to look at replays of it. I know Stu Thornleeds does most of the games at Target Field, and he looks at video. He'll watch replays, and you try to keep it context independent. So like you're not trying to preserve a guy's no hitter, and you're trying to be as neutral as you can. It's not uncommon for teams to call up there during games and try to nudge them one way or another, or say, hey, you got to take another look at that. Like, that was a hit or that was an error. That ball was hit 110 miles an hour. How do you expect our third baseman to field that on one hop?
Really, teams will make a telephone call up to the official scorer during a game.
Not uncommon at all.
That sounds like a pain in the ass.
There's a rumor going around at Target Field. So Stu used to sit in the press box, and he now sits in a room down past, away from the press box, past the TV and radio booth, because Danny used to go down there and yell at Stu when he would mess one up.
Dan Gladden, sure.
Yeah.
Wow. So now he moved to a different part of the ballpark.
Now, I think it's more that they've tried to insulate those guys from everybody.
That is totally different. I mean, they used to sit right there in the press box. Wow.
Yeah, they used to. Yeah, Stu used to park right in the corner of the press box, right next to the PA guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sounds like a tough gig.
Operator.
That sounds like a very tough gig.
You need security.
Yeah.
Thankless.
But Dan around.
Thankless, absolutely. All right. Glen Perkins, if things do happen tonight, you'll be on the radio?
I am not. I'm off this week.
Well, you sly son of a buck, you.
Yep. Radio last week took them through a 13-game winning streak, and then they lost, and so then I'm out.
Just like your pitching days.
Not a bad gig.
You know what you did.
I got benched. I got benched for the homestand.
When we talk to you next week, I expect you to remember everybody's name.
I'll do my best.
Thank you, Glen Perkins.
I'm going to write them down like Louis did.
You should. Check our website, whatever you have to do. We'll see you later, Glenn. Thanks for everything.
All right. Have a good week, guys.
Our conversations with Glen Perkins brought to you by Xfinity. Stream sports from the best seat in the house with Xfinity. Thunderwolves, Randy.
Can't wait.
That's what everyone's talking about this morning.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Game 1 of the best-of-7 Western Conference Final Series starts tonight at 7:30 or 8 on ESPN. Wolves starting the series on the road. They've played well on the road most of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, man. But
the Thunder at home, though, they've been, just incredible. 35-6 in the regular season.
It's crazy.
35-6.
They are beastly.
Yeah, they are. We said this the other day that they really don't have a weakness. There really isn't one area where you look at and you say, that's where you can exploit them. Their defense is very good. Mm-hmm. They're led by an MVP candidate. Jalen Williams is starting to play better offensively, and that's not a good thing for the Wolves because he struggled in the Denver series until Game 7.
Right.
And then lit him up.
Josh, it sounds like someone's ready to crown him.
No, I'm just saying that, you get to this point, you expect there really aren't, glaring weaknesses in teams when you get to this point. No. I think the Timberwolves I think the two best teams in the West are playing right now, without question. I think they are the two best teams in the West.
All right. So, there are no glaring weaknesses with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
But the Wolves are definitely, Nick, they are the underdog. There is no question. They finished 19 games behind OKC.
Nobody's questioning that fact. Nobody's questioning that fact, that who the underdog is. But I was just this just came to mind. It didn't work in the LA series, but maybe I'll try it again with this series. Let's hope for terrible injuries to the opposition.
I like that.
Well, anything can happen.
We didn't need that in the LA series. I thought maybe the Wolves would need that in the LA series for LeBron and Baby Nuts to break their legs or something. So maybe we'll just there is no weakness. We'll hope for terrible injuries.
I'm not sure they needed it in the Golden State series either.
I forgot they got one of those.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not totally sold that. With Curry, the Wolves still don't win that series.
Sure.
But it didn't hurt, that's for sure.
They're going to need to be much better than they had to be to take out Los Angeles and Golden State. I don't think we've seen their best basketball yet in this year's playoff, and maybe that's good news.
Yeah.
Overall, their offense has been kind of clunky with the exception of Julius Randle.
Yes, he's been phenomenal.
So maybe that's good news. We have not seen them at their. They need rebounds. They need stops without fouling. See Willi Myles. They need to stop turning the ball over like a sixth-grade house league team. Yeah.
Can't have 20 turnovers in the game and expect to win.
They need to improve their fast break, which to me is still the worst-looking fast break in the history of the National Basketball Association.
And then OKC is they're a running, gunning team, man. I think they're young. They're oldest guys, 22.
They're the youngest team in the NBA.
I think, yes. And they're 12 deep. They get, and everybody comes off the bench and they run. That's what they do.
Or who we thought they were.
Oh, no.
That's why we took the damn field.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Yeah,
but they are who we thought they were.
Exactly, see, Willie. See, don't do that.
Right.
All right, from a website called ClutchPoints.com, Ski, 3 reasons the Timberwolves will upset the Thunder in this year edition of the Western Conference Finals. As Randy Shaver mentioned, the Wolves are the underdogs. Here's how and why they can get her done. Reason number 1, Anthony Edwards is at the top of his game. Which I would also...
I don't know if he's really at the top of his game. I think,
like I said, aside from Julius Randle, everyone else looks a little off.
I would say Edwards has not yet reached that moment yet.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think their point in this article is if he gets there, if he is the A1 from day one that we've all seen destroy other clubs in the past, they'll have a huge headache on their hands.
Yes.
Reason number 2, Julius Randle is playing the best basketball of his career right now.
Really complements what Edwards does. He's a bully. He plays that way. He's been extremely difficult to stop in the first 2 series. I'm not sure what OKC will do defensively against him. We'll find out tonight. But, yeah, he's been a major factor.
And reason number 3, and someone just mentioned the youth of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Reason number 3, the Timberwolves have more experience at this level, more playoff games under their belt.
Yeah,
this Thunder ball club has never been in this situation.
Yeah, when you're young and stupid, you don't care.
That's right. I'm not so sure that really works in this scenario. I mean, the Wolves have experience, but I just don't know if that works right now in this scenario.
But you know what young people do sometimes? They F up opportunities.
They make mistakes. Absolutely.
They F up opportunities. That's what every one of us could probably speak about when they were young.
I think it's pretty simple to say this. The Wolves need to win one of these games on the road. I mean, every 7-game series, the road team that starts, if they can split the series to start on the road, that is a huge advantage for them. Now, OKC, if you've watched the series when they played Denver, that home crowd, it's phenomenal. It's an incredible arena. It's very difficult to win there, but I would say Target Center can be just as crazy as that place. So,
especially this time of the year.
Yeah. I mean, I think the series is going to go 7. If it goes 7, it's probably OKC's got to be the favorite, but I mean, they got to take one of the 2.
I would go along with that. Here's reason number 4 that the Wolves can pull the upset, according to PLC Finger Banger Jesus. The NBA desperately wants Knicks Wolves in the final. Oh, the NBA wants. When they want something, they get it.
They do.
Yeah.
And actually, okay, how about this text message from a listener? Randy Shaver was talking about he doesn't see any flaws on the surface with the Oklahoma City club. One of our listeners says they see a flaw, and that is that club isn't tough physically. This has been a very physical playoff series. He doesn't think that big center is tough enough. He doesn't think Chet Holmgren is tough enough. He doesn't think that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is tough enough. I'll go along with that.
Let me tell you why.
Let's say the Wolves have the tougher.
I disagree with that.
I say the Wolves have the tougher, more physical team.
Yes, they do. But when you got a team like OKC, you don't need to bang. Those guys pull up.
But maybe they will need to bang. Josh, you gotta let me bang.
Oh, no.
Years ago, Josh and I had a very vocal argument because Josh would not let me bang. He said he did let me bang. But I disagreed with you.
We still argue about that sometimes.
We got audio of that argument
let
somewhere.
me bang.
You're right, see, Willi Myles. They don't need that toughness on their team, but maybe the Wolves will turn the tables and they'll need to find something that's not there. I'm trying to find a window here.
But that's what they said about the Nuggets and the way they did the Nuggets, man. That last game was Jokic wasn't even a problem. You know,
all I got to say is this: Chet Holmgren is 6'9" and weighs 111 pounds.
This is true.
Run right through him.
Oh,
and he shoots threes. So
Run through him.
He's not down there banging.
By the way, speaking,
I do lay bang.
That was Josh and I talking about who lets who bang. Speaking of Jalen Williams of the Oklahoma City Thunder, he has been fined for wearing clothing with profane language during a post-game media session.
Whoa.
This was after the Thunder defeated the Nuggets in Game 7 the other day. Jalen Williams showed up for the media jibber-jabber wearing a T-shirt, and the T-shirt had the words, F Art, Let's Dance, written across the chest. Is that a song lyrics or something? I'm not familiar.
I don't know.
I thought like maybe it was a fart joke. Maybe not.
Well, no. Sorry. I should have been more clear. The F word was clear. Yeah, if it was the letter F and then art, could it be a fart joke? I don't know.
Oh, not if it's spelled out.
Yeah, it was spelled out. That's why they called it profane and whatnot. How about this slogan from a listener? Luka tried, LeBron cried, Jimmy got denied, Wolves in 5.
Great rhyme.
Jim Suhan wrote a column today in the Star Trib and asked the question, is Ant the next Kirby Puckett in Minnesota sports history?
Oh, really? I've heard that question before.
I think that's an interesting question.
Are you sure that's not an old article? I swear to God, I read that 8 months ago, a year ago.
Really? Oh, maybe it is.
I'm just saying.
Maybe they reprinted it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, they printed it today for sure. Or it was online today for sure.
That could be the liquor talking, but I feel like I read that a year ago or something.
I'm sure somebody's brought up that argument before.
Sure, it's possible. Go ahead, Randy. Go ahead, in case folks haven't seen.
I just think it's an interesting question. Obviously, for those that have been around long enough, and we either saw Kirby play or, in my case, able to be around Kirby from start to finish in his career. I think it's a great question. Anthony Edwards does have a lot of qualities that Kirby had in his ability to get a team to rally around him, the confidence, the self-confidence to put a team on his back. The only thing he's missing are the world championships. Puckett was such a charismatic person on and off the field, but he backed all of his confidence up with actually winning 2 titles. I think Anthony Edwards is right there. I think he's knocking at the Kirby Puckett door.
Sure.
To be that person.
Here's where I got mistaken. I've read an article before comparing Bryce, Royce. Help me out with the Twins guys.
Royce Lewis.
I read an article a while back comparing Royce Lewis to Kirby Puckett.
No.
What do you mean no? Yes, I did.
I'm sure you read it. I don't see that comparison.
Right. I already admitted I made a mistake.
Yes.
I made a mistake. Yeah.
Just let him read, bro.
Yeah, you got to let me read.
Let me read.
So what do you think of that?
Oh, I think it's a fair comparison for all of the reasons that you already have given. Absolutely. Likeable, fun, charismatic, great athletes. They rally us to cheer for them and celebrate them. I think that's a
plays
perfect,
hard all the time. I think Anthony Edwards does embody that too. Plays hard, even though sometimes we chide him on some of the mistakes that he makes, but he's a young kid. He's 22, 23 years old. He's won more big games early in his life than Puckett did. Puck didn't win a championship till he was like 25 or 26.
And people forget this too, that Puck has 0 NBA championships. So that could be a big factor and can get over the hump.
He never won an NBA.
But Edwards doesn't have a World Series title either.
Yeah.
He doesn't have 2 of them either.
He has said in the past that he'd be an excellent, he would dominate any sport.
This is hilarious. There's one listener, boy, we can't make him happy no matter what. got this text message. Enough with the Wolves. Wait until the series actually starts. F, right? Josh writes back, series starts today. I wrote back, in a matter of hours, actually.
We're inside of 12 hours, man.
The next text from the guy, comparing Edwards to Kirby. Stop it. Dude, text us. Tell us what route you want us to go down. What can we talk about to make you, specifically you, happy this morning? Is there anything we've said?
I think that conversation is interesting. We'll see.
I agree with you, Randy.
Hilarious.
And I think it's a fair comparison.
Yep, I do too.
All right, over the weekend in New York City, New York Knicks fans attacked a Pacers fan who was just walking down the street wearing a Tyrese Halliburton jersey. I saw the video. It was like 100 kids, all with their cell phones out, of course, recording. They knocked the guy over the head with garbage bags a couple of times. That's all the video showed me. That's all that I saw. They were throwing bags of garbage. The guy's trying to walk down the street. That's all he's doing. Tyrese Halliburton saw the video, and he's hooking the dude up with tickets to the Eastern Conference Final Series.
Oh, sweet. I'd be fine with it then.
Oh, I might stage a
So
video
you're saying
then.
he did that on purpose?
Yeah, have some of my buddies beat me up, and then hope it goes viral, and I get courtside tickets to a game.
Walk around Minneapolis. When did they play their first home game in this series? Saturday. Walk around Minneapolis wearing a Gilgeous-Alexander jersey.
See what happens?
Yeah. Someone pours a bucket of turds over your head, you're going to get a phone call from Gilgeous-Alexander, and you're going to the...
And then he sets me up courtside, and I show up to the game wearing an Ant jersey. I completely play him.
So, Halliburton's going to fly this kid to New York City.
Wow.
To watch Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Final. Halliburton said, I personally want to bring you and a +1. Oh, no, sorry. He's going to fly him to Indiana. Well, he must not be He must be a New York guy who's a Halliburton fan. Anyway, right. I want to personally bring you and a +1 to Indiana for Game 4. Everybody in our organization wants to make sure you're taken care of. How about that?
That's cool.
Hopefully he's not on a flight with a bunch of Knicks fans.
Round 2.
He just keeps getting his ass kicked everywhere he goes.
First class with a bunch of Knicks.
You might have to set him up with security.
Right.
By the way, Tyrese Halliburton is about to be included in the latest WWE video game called 2K25. He'll be a bonus character that you can unlock in the game.
That's
Jeez.
Cool. He does have some real in-ring experience, like myself.
The deafening.
Well, I was waiting for someone to say, what is it that you mean by that? So I could tell another self-serving story about myself. Tyrese.
Do tell.
Tyrese does have some real in-ring experience. He got in the ring at a WWE show at Madison Square Garden a year ago where he was playing a heel character alongside Logan Paul.
Gross.
Wow.
He's actually very entertaining in the ring.
And the two
Logan
beefed.
Paul?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it yet. Halliburton and Logan Paul were beefing in the ring alongside real WWE wrestler L.A. Knight and New York Knicks point guard Jalen Brunson. And now here they are meeting in the conference final. So I understand they did a pretty good job, those guys, when they're in the ring. So Halliburton gets to be in a wrestling video game. The Stanley Cup playoffs have moved into the... Hockey's still happening.
Is it still?
Yeah,
it's got a long way to go yet.
Does it?
It's there. The Eastern Final just started.
Stanley Cup playoffs have moved into the conference final series now tonight. The Florida Panthers, the defending champions, play in Raleigh, North Carolina against a club with home ice in the series, the Carolina Hurricanes.
Nothing says hockey more than Florida and Carolina.
So right after the cup is handed over, then like the next week it's like rookie camp.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a 12-month. Holy crap!
They get 36 hours between the Stanley Cup and the opening of
Is
camp.
that right?
Yeah.
Canes and Cats, Randy Shaver, playing in what used to be the Prince of Wales Conference, now known simply as the Eastern Conference Final. 7 o'clock on TNT tomorrow, the Clarence Campbell Conference, the Western Conference, begins their final series. Fans threw beers at the Maple Leafs bench as that Game 7 home loss to Florida was wrapping up.
Wow.
They're just entitled douchebags, these people who would throw beers at their own hockey club for losing a Game 7 at home.
Yeah, that's crappy.
They were throwing their Maple Leaf sweaters out onto the ice. Good. That sweater can be given to someone who will appreciate it. What a pile of clowns. Some Canadian hockey fans, not all, some of them are the definition of entitlement. But they've lost 7 Game 7s in a row, and you know how these fans get. They feel like they're owed something.
Yeah.
They owe me.
Like all Minnesota fans.
Yes. Minnesota fans have been saying that since the early 90s.
90s, exactly.
Well, we certainly know one who said it out loud. Not all of them will say it out loud, but we used to know one guy who said it out loud, who directly said he feels the Minnesota Vikings owe him a Super Bowl championship because of the money that his parents have spent on tickets over the years.
Not even him.
Not him.
He said he's been invested financially and emotionally in the team.
0 financial investment. He's lying about his financial investment.
Wow.
Emotional, fine. I'll go along with that. But I'm willing to bet my life he's never spent any of his own money on a Vikings game.
I was in...
or on anything else.
Or anything else for that matter.
I was on a podcast the other day, and some guy... We were talking about Minnesota.
You are a
sports
slut.
I don't remember us giving permission.
You think you can just go hook up with any... You filthy... Go ahead. I'm sorry. You were on a podcast?
We don't have an open relationship.
It was a sports podcast. And we were talking about Minnesota sports. And this guy, it just irritated me because he's like, we've never won anything since the 90s. I go, no. I said, we have like 4 WNBA championships, and he goes, those doesn't count. And I was like, you know, we got
he doesn't know you're a big WNBA fan, I would imagine.
No, he did not.
Yeah.
We got in a beef right on this podcast, man. And I was like, you're like, dude, like, I hope you don't have a wife and you don't have daughters. You know what I mean? I said, that's an awful thing to say. I mean, that's like, those are real chips.
Well, who were these people?
Right.
Who were these guys? Why'd they got to do that to you?
I don't know, just some random caller.
Oh, a random caller said that. I understand.
Yeah, it wasn't the guys that I was talking to.
So you feel, Willie and Randy Shaver agrees with it. You feel like Minnesota sports fans are acting entitled.
Oh, I just think they get overly invested. You gotta let it happen, man. They're gonna win, but I think people in Minnesota want it so bad. Right. That as soon as the team gets to a point where they go, oh, this is going to be the year, you got to quit saying that, man. You just got to let it happen.
Yeah, they get
and then they get so let down.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
overly emotional.
Well,
exactly.
The Vikings, there are triggers for sure. The Vikings are a trigger in this state because they have been so close multiple times in the NFC title game. To get just back to the Super Bowl. It's not even to win it, just get back there.
Right.
For the Wolves, it's totally different. This is such new territory for the Wolves that I think there's something fresh about what's happening with this club. I think that what everybody is waiting for, to be honest with you, is the hockey to win the title. That's really, we're such a hockey state. There's so many people invested in that sport. I think if that were to ever happen, this place would explode just because of the history of this state and what hockey means to this state.
Yeah. We would lose our gourds. Of course we would.
I really think that's the one sport where everybody would just lose their minds.
I think it's a tight competition between Vikings fans and Pigs fans.
Probably, yeah.
Man, I think it's all of them.
All of them.
I think it's all. I think if it's such a dry spell here. You know, and that's why I'm a big WNBA because at least they get close. And they were in the championship game last year, and they got pimped. That was bad. That was a bad call.
Somebody's upset and would like us to not talk about the WNBA until the season starts. Once that gets going.
It started a week ago.
It's hard to say which fan base feels, how do I say this?
Man, I'm going to say Vikings.
It's a tight race between Vikings fans and Pigs fans as to which fan base wants it more. I guess it's as simple a way to say it. Wants it more. That's a very close competition. Either way, if the Vikings win a Super Bowl, Pigs win a cup, this town will burn to the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There will be no survivors.
I would say, Nick, the basketball part of that is this state has become a quote-unquote basketball state only in the last 25, 30 years with the way that the explosion of high school boys and girls basketball and the amount of Division I talent that is now coming out of this state on a regular basis. It never used to be like that.
Right, I agree.
It is now. And I think that we're becoming a little bit more and more of a basketball kind of state. But the true heart of Minnesota is hockey. And that's the one sport, if the Wild can ever win it, it will just absolutely change everything in this state.
Mm-hmm. A defending. What's that? It wouldn't. If the hockey team wins, you wouldn't change. It wouldn't change you at all.
You'd be the same C. Willi we know today.
I'd be the same. Yeah.
There is a defending champion in town defending their title tonight, and that is the Minnesota Frost ladies hockey team. They play Game 1 of the ladies hockey final tonight in Ottawa. The Frosty Frost against Ottawa. They're looking to repeat. Puck drops at 6 o'clock, and they're televising that on the FanDuel channel. C. Willi Myles says, you see?
Is that a best of 5?
I think it's 5.
Best of 5.
I can't be 100% certain on that. Okay. But, yeah. The Pigs or Vikes win it all. Just hang on to something.
Yeah.
Hang on to something. If elderly asshole Bill Belichick can keep it together with his lunatic but scorching hot girlfriend making his life and everyone else's life as difficult as possible, he should have some decent crowds when he starts coaching college football down there at the University of North Carolina. They sold out all their season tickets, 20,000 seats.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's crazy.
If he can keep it together mentally with this goofball girlfriend, there should be some good crowds there. I got 8 words for Bill Belichick, 8 of them. Ski-U-Ma, row the boat, go Gophers. PJ Fleck is my homeboy, and everyone else sucks.
It is kind of sad the Gophers aren't playing him. But for a couple of years, they did have him on the schedule.
Yeah, you're right.
It is disappointing because what a show that would be, right? What a clown show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Josh told us earlier, starting tonight on television, you can watch episode 1 of a new series called...
Yes.
See, Willi Myles, it's called The Fall of Favre.
I have it on my phone. I can't wait to start watching it.
Well, yeah?
Why?
Yeah, I've been watching the previews of it. It's going to be good.
You're surprised isn't the word. You're excited for this.
I am.
Oh, I thought...
I am.
Why?
Just because... I'm sure there's some things that I didn't know that I'm going to get a chance to watch. And I just a little bit of that history of him being, if he wasn't a Viking, I probably wouldn't care as much. But because he was here and part of that for a while, there's some interest there. And I'm just interested in the way that his life is kind of
spun into the toilet?
Yeah, in the last 10 years.
Not.
Yeah.
It was since he went to New York, and again, I move around different circles, so you hear things, and I'm one of those people that is a true believer, and once people show you who they are, believe them the first time. And Brett Favre, man, he didn't have to do what he did, but he did, and what a waste of an iconic career he could have had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he was everybody. He was like the Terry Bradshaw. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's hardworking. Go out there, grit, take the hit, do whatever it takes to win. Play hurt, all of that. And a leader on the field, an absolute leader, and then to do the things that he did.
He's effed it up, hasn't he?
Yes.
He kind of effed it all up.
Which is what makes this show so intriguing. Because I'm sure there's some details that we've not heard. And I don't think Favre is part of this. I don't think he was interviewed for this.
Oh.
So I don't think that you're going to hear him necessarily a lot in this series.
Yeah, but we had photos and text messages.
Oh, we got photos.
I was surprised by this untold Brett Favre, the Fall of Favre story, because I figured it was going to be one of those like 4-part, hour-long, 4-hour-long documentary. It's just 1 hour-long episode.
Isn't that all the untold?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what? It's just a 1 hour episode?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was one of those big drawn-out nightmare
I don't
series
think
you got to
so.
sit there for months on end. Oh, well, that changes the way
Yeah, I could watch this.
I'm still very likely not going to bother watching, but I didn't know it was just a...
Well, why don't you watch it so we have that conversation?
When is it on?
It starts
today.
tonight. It can run anytime. You can watch it anytime.
Oh.
It drops today.
I watched a couple of them. They're pretty interesting.
I thought there was only one.
Oh, no, there's a ton of them.
It's a series called Untold.
It's called Untold, and there's just a bunch of these.
Oh, you watched a separate character.
Yes, correct.
Which one did you watch,
The
John?
Malice at the Palace one.
Oh, I love that moment in time.
Over the weekend, I watched the murder of Air McNair.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good
The
one.
Steve
I learned a lot in that one.
Yeah.
So did
Yes.
I. I didn't know quite a bit of those details. I couldn't believe I'd never heard before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I heard the Liver King is good. Somebody texted in on that the other day.
Hey, Nick, why don't you at 7:30 tonight watch the Favre?
Because the Timberwolves are playing the friggin'... I'm sorry, Josh. The Liver King?
The Liver King.
What is that about?
Somebody texted about it, and I apologize if I'm getting details wrong, but supposedly it was a guy who talked about, the way he ate and ate a lot of liver and stuff, and he might have made some things up about what he was actually doing to his body. At least that's what I was told. I heard it's very interesting.
So this isn't just a sports-related series. We're talking about a guy who eats a lot of liver?
Raw meat.
Is it just all raw meat?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yuck.
He built an empire about selling supplements and muscle gaining powders and all
for
that.
God's sake.
Some of it might not have been true. I haven't watched it yet, but that's kind of what I've heard about.
There's lots to see on television. Thanks, Randy Shaver, and enjoy everything that you're up to tonight, watching the Wolves and every damn thing.
It's going to be fun.
We'll talk to you tomorrow morning.
See ya.
We'll return with more from C. Willi Myles when we come back on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
No Contest Wrestling. O'Shea Jackson Jr. and TJ Jefferson with the biggest names in the game.
Give it up for the Dark Angel.
First one.
Meta. First.
I can't believe it.
NXT double champion. Welcome the King, Lexus King.
I don't know if I'd be where I'm at now if I didn't take the path that I took.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jada Parker. What made you, after the soccer career, go WWE?
The answer I always have to that is why not?
The No Contest Wrestling Podcast, part of the Rich Eisen Podcast Network. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-Assed Morning Show 93X.
C. Willi Myles has joined the program today. Thank you for that, C. Willi. Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop, indeed.
It's nice to see you
here, man. I love seeing you guys.
We
man.
love
We're
seeing you, too. Welcome back to the Half-Assed Morning Show. C. Willi Myles, an entertainer. You don't particularly like being referred to as a comic.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
More than that.
You'll have to forgive me.
You're not a one-trick pony.
I'm not a one-trick
You are much more than that.
Yeah.
But forgive me, I need to use the term in order to ask you a question.
Absolutely.
In order to have it make sense for everybody who's listening. Are comics freaks? Sexually speaking, C. Willi Myles, is there potentially a lot of sex happening and available to stand-up comics?
100%.
Okay. that would make sense because you're always traveling, you're in hotels, a lot of you, not you, you're drinking, you're socializing with whatever sex you're interested in before and after your gigs.
Right.
So you would say stand-up comedy can get freaky.
Absolutely. It's crazy.
You got any stories?
No, not for. I mean,
I know not you personally, but
absolutely. I mean, it is. I've been in situations where I don't use my actual name when I check into the hotel.
Yeah.
Because especially when I was on a college tour, when you're touring colleges, man, it gets wild.
Yeah.
And you do those shows, and they want to take you out to eat and then drink, and next thing they want to follow you back to your hotel and things like that. But no, because I've been with my wife for so long, and I've always been in a relationship, so I never did the road thing.
Yeah.
Where you
the rock star thing.
Right, and I was very uncomfortable with that. Because that's a lot of you catch a case that way too.
Oh,
if you
Yeah.
no, I mean I'm just saying it happened to a good friend of mine that he didn't do anything. She got caught in his room where he let her in because she was banging on his door so loud it was the whole hotel was about to wake up
like a psychomaniac.
Yeah, and then her boyfriend come looking for her, and then she accused him of taking her to his room. And he wound up getting, and this happened in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Oh, that kind of case.
Right, you catch a
Yeah, we thought you meant
like burning urination.
That too.
Herpes and everything. Oh, God.
Oh, you'll catch that too.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, you want to be careful when you're out there, and I mean, not to walk around with a stack of, NDAs in your pocket or nothing, but you can get caught up that way though too.
Without a doubt.
Are there venues that kind of hook you up with the ladies?
Oh yeah, but not the venue itself, but you got bartenders and stuff like that. Be like, so man, if I
the club owner maybe,
right? The booker,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, but at the end of the day, no, you do. I mean, it's like your dressing room, and it's the same thing. I mean, it's not just sex, but it's drugs, and it's what I mean. And
sure.
You got to be pretty confident in yourself to know that you don't need that to perform, or you don't need that to be happy, or you don't need that to complete you.
All right.
And I was never that type of entertainer, period. I was not that type of comic when I came up. I just wanted to come in, do what I was supposed to do.
You must have a lot of self-control, a lot of a willpower.
100%.
I bet your sisters, they beat
9 older sisters.
They beat that into it.
And I tell people that all the time. I think about my sisters all the time when you're out on the road and how you treat women, and how you talk to them, and how you respect them.
Good for you.
Not
9 older sisters.
9 older sisters.
How
and a mother.
How did you survive?
Brother.
Physically.
Brother.
All right.
You never peed indoors, did you?
Never did. No, 48 minutes max. 18 years. 48 minutes. That's all the time I had in the bathroom. 48 minutes in 18 years.
It makes sense that the stand-up comedy world would be a sexually charged environment for all the reasons that we already discussed. A question came up on that soulless, evil social media. What non-sex occupations have the freakiest employees? Text us with your thoughts. 651-989-9393. What non-sexual occupations have the freakiest employees?
I can tell you in my experience, working in a restaurant.
Yep. Let's see if that landed in here, Summers.
Or plays and musicals, live theater,
sure.
that kind of thing.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Food service industry, Cubby, is right here. And you said what?
And then like any live performance of plays, musicals, theater. Yeah.
Theater. Isn't your mother involved in community theater?
No. My dad was.
Your dad was?
Yeah, he was a little bit when he got older.
All right.
Wow.
In high school, I remember they were all... there was this one time at band camp, for example. In high school, they were all hooking up.
Right.
See, I never
all
heard
the
those.
Theater kids.
I never heard those stories at my high school. The theater kids at my high school were kind of the parade of virgins.
I was a theater major, St. Cloud State.
Okay, well, once you get to college, of course, all bets are off, I think, right? But
yeah,
high school.
Definitely.
High school, I never heard one. I guess maybe it depends. Maybe it has something to do with Josh going to a Catholic school. I don't know. But we're talking about occupations here. Non-sexual occupations. Which of them have the freakiest employees? Tattoo artists.
Oh, I bet.
A lot of naked bodies.
Absolutely.
Very open people.
Open-minded, adventurous people.
Number 1 via text so far, nurses.
Okay.
As this person says, every nurse ever. Yeah, healthcare, nurses. A lot of that kind of stuff.
Here's what folks had to say specifically about, and yes, I believe the nursing industry does come up. Here's what folks in this particular article had to say about tattoo artists. They're either philosophers with a needle or total chaos in human form. There's no in between.
I love
It's dramatic.
Would that make sense? See, I wouldn't know. I've only known one tattoo artist in my life, and I never knew him terribly well.
Yeah, same here.
So you don't exactly know if they're
No,
okay.
not too sure.
I do get the philosopher thing from a couple tattoo artists I know. They're all very bright and very kind of deep thinkers, and they like to get into that sort of thing.
Okay.
And they will talk you out of a tattoo. if you're getting something and they think they look at you and go,
They're not going to put their name on that.
Right.
They will, huh?
I'm not going to put this tattoo on you because that's on me.
Well, that's good to know.
Right. Sometimes it was, yeah.
Here's a statement. It took me I'll get there. It took me dating 6 different hairdressers to realize they were all crazy.
Yep. Dated one
Jeez,
of them.
dude. You really wanted to make sure. Real bad.
He kept going investigating.
Well, you got to be sure.
So hairdressers, I guess, have that freaky image.
Boy, I don't know. The couple I know are... Oh, I take that back. But what if them much later in life went a little goofy? Okay, I take that back.
I've known 2 hairdressers in my lifetime and known them very well. And yes, I would confirm that they were quite experienced, aggressive, confident people.
Yeah.
The crew of a cruise ship.
Yeah, I can see that. My wife watches that Below Deck show, and I catch a little bit here and there, and they definitely look like they're all hooking up and they're all looking to party.
Yep.
Well, you sign up for a gig. Usually, if you're going to be working for a cruise ship, you're between 18 and 30, right? You're traveling sunny destinations, bikinis.
Yeah.
You're doing it probably temporarily. You're not too worried about your future as a cruise ship host or whatever. You're just doing it for the fun and the travel.
Yeah.
Well, you're gone for 6 to 8, sometimes months before you
really.
Oh yeah, I was.
And you're all together.
I performed on a cruise
Sounds
ship.
sweet.
So I mean, you're gone.
Months, 8 months.
I should have done that.
Yeah, you do 6 months, and
you're going to get to know everybody on that boat.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that long of a poke.
Yeah. And you can go to a different ship, and that's the same energy.
We're discussing what non-sexual occupations have the freakiest employees, and I think most folks know what we mean by freakiest.
And may I say, you're in international water, so it doesn't even count.
No laws, no rules. Actors is next on the list. And this individual goes on to say, I don't mean movie stars and A-listers. I mean the people who you'll never know by name. Working actors are still just horny theater kids with SAG cards.
Yeah, I mean, they mention theater in here. Yeah, the regional theater they bring up. I'm telling you, they get freaky. Somebody else brought up people who work in gyms. Yeah. And that makes sense. Everybody's in great shape.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Bunch of testosterone built up.
Yeah, some of those trainers, man.
They're covered in baby oil and Ben Gay.
We're going to work on your glutes today. So right here is what I'm telling you. This is the part you want to, just so you know, I'm going to put my hand right here. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. Next on the list, the carnival. Oh,
I don't like that.
I want that reality show.
I mean, there's a theme, right? I mean, you're traveling with the same group of people.
Yes.
There's downtime.
Yes.
You're gonna socialize, maybe have a couple of drinks. And go
Yeah, but you're
sketchy.
carnies.
I've heard stories about the carnival. It's just I've heard stories where it's just a pile of human flesh, and no one really cares to determine who's connected to who.
Gross.
A few people are texting in flight attendants. I knew one. I used to pet sit for one when I was in high school, and she would tell me some stories.
What did she do?
She was a flight attendant.
No, I mean, what did she do? She hooked up with...
Oh, no, she would just tell me stories about, because she was based in Hawaii a lot of the times, and that's where she was from, so she'd fly from Minnesota all the way to Hawaii. And she would say when she was younger, when I knew her, so I was maybe 15, and she was in her 40s. But she would talk about some of her coworkers because they'd have like a place they all rented together, and they just party constantly when they weren't on flights.
Right. What occupations have the most sexually charged employees? Now, it has to be a non-sexual, of course, you could say porn star, stripper. We're talking about a non-sexual job that has the most sexually charged employees, otherwise known as freaks. And we've covered a little bit of everything so far. Tattoo artists, hairdressers, the goofballs who run around your cruise ship, the carnival, oh my God, air travel, theater, the food industry, nurses and doctors.
What about salespeople?
Absolutely.
You know what, Josh? I'll read you what was included in this article on salespeople, because they were included in this report on freaky type of people. It says, in all my years working in sales, it's full-on, hyper-motivated, hyper-aggressive, horny as hell men and women. Everybody is doing drugs and banging and stressed to the gills.
That sounds accurate.
Oh, it tracks.
It's accurate. It was accurate around here 15, 20, 25 years ago.
Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s, it was wild.
Our sales department smelled like booze. Everyone was dressed. Everyone was dressed like they were going out that night to have sex with a complete stranger. It was really a weird vibe.
What's that outfit look like?
Some people had
with a complete stranger. What do you wear to that?
Very. A lot of the folks dressed like they were at a singles bar.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And some of them had nicknames that were very suggestive at just what they would do to get that sale.
Sell.
There was
always
rumors of
be
that.
selling.
And then, like the ones that are traveling, kind of the same thing.
Right.
They're out there doing what they do. Yeah, it was insane around here for a while.
It was.
And I would say also throw the same into like sales, retail.
Okay.
Retail. Because I worked at the hotel in St. Cloud.
Well, you're working at a hotel.
I was working at a hotel in St. Cloud, but across the street from the mall.
Oh.
And at 9 o'clock, baby, when the mall closed, the bar was hopping.
There was a bar in the hotel.
The bar at the hotel.
That changes everything when there's a bar in the hotel.
And it didn't help that the bar name was the Why Not Lounge.
Oh. I'll tell you
Nice
why
name.
not. I can't come up with one reason why not.
That's perfect.
As we're going through all these jobs.
Why not?
With amorous people, a texter here says,
Amorous
if my full-time gig doesn't work out, I'm getting some ideas on where to work next.
All right, a lot of folks have been texting in. A lot of listeners have been texting in with their take on the occupations, non-sexual occupations with the most sexually charged crowd, otherwise known as freaks. Baudette Fishing Guide Jesus texted in to say, well, they're definitely not freaks in the fishing guide industry. Sad face.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe you could get it started.
People are saying, are radio DJs the least freakiest people? No, actually. No. When we were young, we were quite disgusting.
It depends on the age, yeah.
Right.
When we were young, we were quite repulsive, and I would define this building as freaky.
Ew.
Right.
Back in the see, Willie's worked in radio before.
Absolutely. When you know better, you do better.
Some of you guys tell me, some of these, I don't know if they're being serious. Trade workers? What, a couple guys, we have trade workers? They're getting freaky with each other on the...
I guess.
A couple guys get out a ruler? What happens when the trade workers are... I thought this was just in the movies. Summer camp counselors.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's real.
Yeah,
deal.
definitely.
You went to summer camp.
Well, I went to one overnight camp.
Oh,
It was just
overnight
one
camp.
night. It was just one night. Yeah, I had a buddy who did that every year for that reason.
He was a camp counselor.
Yeah, he was a camp counselor, and he did with the other camp counselors. There was a couple like regulars where he's like, "Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing her again."
Oh my gosh. I always
out in the
wanted
wilderness.
to do that. Not for that reason, but I always wanted to be a camp counselor. I don't know why.
Oh,
it just seemed like such a good time.
Well, you just kind of boss some kids around, smoke some joints, and sit around a campfire drinking beer.
The movies made it sound cool.
He became an Eagle Scout just so he'd be qualified for this particular camp
Good
because
for
he wanted to
him.
meet ladies.
Now that I think about it, Josh, I used to go to a soccer camp every summer, a week-long overnight soccer camp. And the counselors were all the college kids that played on the teams. And I remember they did not care what the hell we did at night because they were off doing whatever the hell they wanted to do.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
This is funny. Someone texted in, the pool cleaner. Well, some of these, I'm wondering, you guys tell me, teachers, really?
Oh, I'll tell you.
Definitely, yep.
Yeah.
Teachers that I know they're definitely not freaks.
There's a guy, a buddy of mine's friend who I'm familiar with. He started dating. He met a kindergarten teacher at a bar.
Those are the best.
And some of the stories dude, there's no way I could keep up with this woman. I mean, there's citrus involved.
Right.
There's so many weird things going on in the bedroom. I can't even imagine.
Doesn't it stand to reason if you're the kindergarten teacher, you're probably about 23?
Yeah.
I mean, not when I grew up. Our kindergarten teachers were friggin' ancient. But nowadays, isn't it usually younger?
Yeah, that's true.
Therapists?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
All therapists have their own therapist because they have issues too.
Well, it takes one to know one is what they say.
Trading card and comic book shop workers?
No.
I'm reading texts from people. I don't know these things.
Casino workers, someone says. I could see that.
Obviously, the music industry. This is an interesting one. Says here, as far as freaks and what they do for a living. Never date a girl who works behind the counter of a pet store.
Wow.
She will F your life up faster than 12 nurses and 6 hairdressers combined.
I'll take your word for it.
That's funny. I dated a girl that worked as a receptionist at an auto shop, and she was pretty wild. Oh, actually.
How wild?
Pretty wild. I mean, you dated her best friend. That's who it was.
Oh. Yes, they were wild.
both of those together? Ooh, wow.
They were best friends, and we were best friends.
Yep.
We should have swapped.
I never even thought of that.
We should have swapped.
Never occurred to me.
Thanks, C. Willi Myles.
My friends, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. Always nice sitting in with you cats.
And we're envious of your current lifestyle. You haven't done a damn thing.
Hey, you got to take time off after you come off a tour.
I'm not
getting ready to go. I'm back out there again.
I'm envious and complimentary.
I go back to work June 4th.
We're looking forward to hearing about that next time you pop. Hopefully you'll have a chance to pop by again before that gig.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I'll be in next Tuesday. You know why?
Well, we're out next week.
You're good because it's my birthday.
Oh!
We're celebrating
happy
all
early
week.
birthday.
Absolutely.
Well, celebrate the following week, C. Willi Myles.
Absolutely, man.
We're sitting around doing nothing. Thank you.
Absolutely nothing.
Happy 32nd birthday to Alex from his wife, who says that he pipe fits America by day and pipe fits her at night.
You son of a bitch.
Shout out to the St. Paul Fire Department hockey team. Supposedly, it says here they're going to beat the Minneapolis Fire hockey team on Saturday. That's from Willie Yanker. Jaska Jesus texted in a shout out to his daughter graduating auto body technology at Hennepin Tech today.
God,
Congratulations.
I wish I would have went to that friggin' class.
Me too. God, I'd love to know that kind of
Yes.
thing. What a cool skill. Congratulations.
What have I done with my life? What have I done? What have I
There's still
learned?
time. We
I've
could
never
go
learned
back.
any. There's not time.
We could go back.
There is no time.
We'll be laid off any day. And
We're out of time.
Well, of all the time.
Let him bang.
He just wants to
Can't
bang.
let me bang, bro.
Nah, you'll get a shot. I guarantee it. We'll be laid off soon enough. Have a great, what day is it?
Tuesday.
Have a great Tuesday.
Goodbye.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on Hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.